Yeah. What's good, everybody? How everybody doing tonight?
Mhm.
Welcome. Heart of the
All
city,
right.
man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's good, Jeffy? I see you, man. Send a link in the back chat, man. If you want to come on, man. We got a lot to talk about tonight, man. You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah. What's good with you, coach? How you feeling tonight?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Just chill right now. Just ready. To get break down and get into this game week for the Baltimore Ravens. So especially with it being Wink's old team, and they got
Yeah.
JPP. So it's going to be an interesting game. So how about you? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. Especially coming off that win, man. That big, huge win.
Mhm.
Um, Giants versus Packers, I know everybody's been talking about it, but I haven't really got to give my spill on it. Um, so we're gonna get into that tonight. We're gonna get into
Mhm.
the Jets. They had a huge win over the Dolphins. Um, a dominant win at that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And we also gonna get into what is the baseball teams. They've been disappointing to say the
Mhm.
least.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just speaking about the Mets, Yankees are going tonight. We'll see how they do. Um, and of course the basketball. Um,
Mhm.
as we're going to get into that as well. What's good, Jeffy? How you, man? Is that
What
you?
up, what up, what up? This is Matt, the Giants fan, and I'm
What's up,
here to
Matt?
bring you that New York Giants aftermath. How y'all doing tonight? How you guys doing tonight? Shout out to our guy
what's
Mac.
what's good, Jeff
I'm,
slash
I'm
Mac?
good.
Doing
Um,
good, bro. How are you doing
Mac's
tonight?
good dude, man. Of course, man. What's good, Taj? I see you in the chat, man. How you doing tonight, man? Bro, yo, we lit, man. We lit, man. This is New York Giants 4-1. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
now, couple things. What's good, Levance? I see you,
So,
bro.
Vance.
What's good, man? Thanks for tuning in. Couple things I want to say here about the Giants, man. Just to get it off my chest. I hate to be this guy, but like, I told you so. I told you so. You know what I'm saying? The Big Blue Crew told you so. Pat, G Nation, Coach, myself,
Mm-hmm.
Jeffy, we all told you, man. You know, this team is a team.
Mm-hmm.
Told you this is a team. We told you hanging in with Jones. Told you not trading Saquon Barkley. Told you give Darius Slayton a chance. Told you
Mm-hmm.
this defense is different. Told you this coaching staff is different. So we can't be shocked. I'm not, at least, because I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. And the reason I knew it was going to happen is because we watch film. We watch film and we break down film over here. Um, and we knew the game plan. Shut down the
Mm-hmm.
run game. What they do? What they hold them to? 80, 94 yards as a team.
Mm-hmm.
90, 94 yards as a team, under 100. You know what I'm saying? Rodgers, 222 yards passing. He had a 53.4 quarterback rating. So the boogeyman, that the Giants were supposed to be afraid of, got shut down, especially in the second half. We know this is a second half team. Why? Because they got to make adjustments. They got to make those adjustments because they just still filling the team out. You know, they're still getting used to this team, and um, that's one of the big things that I noticed with the Giants is resiliency, and they
Mm-hmm.
play well on all levels. It's not just a defensive team. It's not just an offensive team. It's not just special teams. They play well on all levels and they play hard on all levels. And when you got a team like that, they can beat anybody. The
Mm-hmm.
driving force with the Giants, though, right now, is they're very good against the pass and they know how to run a football. Giants teams that went to the Super Bowl. What was their MO? Run the football, rush the passer. So you get in the Giants teams that y'all all wanted. All y'all that said, "Oh, they need an identity." Uh, what's the identity of this team? What do they do well? You know, who's the star playmaker? Who's gonna show up in games and all that? Like bump that shit, man, because we are a team. Giants are a team. Let me talk about Mr. James Jones here for a minute. Um, I'm a critic. Was a critic, big time critic. You know what I'm saying? Coming into the season, I lightened up on that a little bit because guess what? I start watching film. Shout out to Coach. Shout out to Big Pat Sports Talk. I start watching film. Guy did not have what he needed on offense to succeed. Okay. Now, here's what's funny about this whole situation with Jones. Just speaking to this game. Jones played the game, I believe, with a high ankle sprain, or was it an ankle sprain or high ankle sprain? Do y'all know?
Right now, I thought it was an ankle sprain. It didn't
Just
say.
an
I had
ankle
never heard
sprain.
it. I never heard if it was a high or anything else.
Okay. On some real shit, I sprained my ankle Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That shit hurts like hell.
Mm-hmm.
So for that dude to go out there and perform the way he performed on a high ankle sprain or whatever the hell it was, that's all any critic should need to know to in order to chill off the Jones hate. Now, is he spectacular? No. Is he gonna throw for 450 yards? No. Is he gonna run for 150 yards? Probably not. So what's he gonna give you? Clutch quarterback play. Who's that remind you of?
Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Reminds us of that guy number 10 that played years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Isn't that what Giants fans wanted?
Mm-hmm.
The next Eli
Mm-hmm.
Manning?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's not Eli Manning. He gives you a different skill set. He can run. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? And that's what you need right now because you don't have a line that's that spectacular. They get the job done
Mm-hmm.
though.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me talk a little bit about Mr. Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton went out there and proved everybody wrong. When I was probably one of his only fucking supporters. Me, I pull up the video footage. First video I made was on Darius Slayton. So don't front. Don't front like y'all all been talking about Slayton like that. You know what I'm saying? Big Pat and myself was probably the only two. And maybe like one other person on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? But as far as content creators, everybody wanted Slayton traded. Every fucking body wanted them cut or traded. Now, guess what? We need receivers. We need receivers. Somebody needs to step up. Who the hell stepped up in the game?
Mm-hmm.
Number
Big time.
86. Told y'all put the dude on the field, man. He can play football. He's a veteran. He has chemistry with the quarterback. All right. Saquon Barkley. They wanted him traded. Trade your franchise player. Are you retarded? That's unheard of. You know what I'm saying? Now what? He's in the MVP conversation. The MVP conversation. Are the Giants for real? Or is this all fluke? Y'all tell me. Cause all you media people, and that's why I don't care for the media, because in certain fans that just follow the media, do your research. You got a brain, use it. You know what I'm saying? You see this team is well coached. You see this team as a second half team, and despite having deficiencies like every other team in the NFL has, the Packers' deficiency was exposed. You know what I'm saying? So every team has deficiencies. Now, one last point, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to be too long winded despite my excitement, because I'm pretty much on that train where it's like, look, man, we told you this was coming. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to
Mhm.
Lou. He went on a limb, said 11-6. I ain't go that far. You know what I'm saying? With my initial prediction. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it's 11-6 all day. Facts. You know what I'm saying? But this is the deal with the Giants. They have to continue to use their personnel that they have and max out the talent that they have. And that's a shout out to coaching. Brian Dable, Wink Martindale, Mike Kafka. You got backups playing very, very well for your team right now. People that nobody's heard of. Daniel Bellinger. You know what I'm saying? Breeder came in there, gave you some solid minutes. Marcus Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Sills. Um, um, uh, uh, who else? Richie James. You know what I'm saying? You got backups on the offensive line. Backups on the defensive line. Leonard Williams didn't play. Ojolari didn't play. You know what I'm saying? Um, KT still a rookie. What up, Hit? I see you. What's good, bro? You know what I'm saying? KT still
Wow.
a rookie. You
Joe.
know, what's good, Joe? What's good, man? Facts,
How you
man.
guys
I said
doing?
Slayton ought to get traded. Yeah, a lot of people did. You wasn't the only one, Joe. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? You could be wrong about Slayton, like I was wrong about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is going to get a contract from the New York Giants after this season. I promise you that. You know what I'm saying? And I made videos about the Giants signing Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. But shout out to Joe. Shout out to Joe. He was absolutely right about Daniel Jones. Him, Pat, G Nation. Look, man, dude can perform if you give him. He doesn't really have the talent around him right now. To be honest with you, he don't really got much circling around him right now. But the fact of the matter is, he's a gutsy quarterback. Last point I'm gonna make about Jones. Jones fits this team. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Rodgers wouldn't work on this team. Patrick Mahomes wouldn't work on this team. I promise you that. A
Mm.
quarterback like Jones that's gonna go in there with his hands all messed up, bloody, his ankle on a bum ankle. You know what I'm saying? Go out there, throw for over 200 something yards, drive your team down the field, rush for over 30 something yards, and go in there and get you the game. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of QB you got right there. Do you want flash and cash? Go ahead. Be a Buffalo Bills fan. Be a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I'm good. I'm rolling with the Giants. The grit and the grut, the blood and the glory. You know what I'm saying? So look, man, it is what it is. We know what kind of team we got. If y'all don't know it, please, please don't interrupt as we come through. Get out the way because we're going all the way. Playoffs. Told you. Beginning of the season. We said on this podcast, coach, Giants
Mhm.
going to the playoffs. I told you. Beginning of the season. Look, man. Jones, Slayton, I mean, not Slayton, Jones, Barkley need to be re-signed. I made videos about it. Y'all know. Can the Giants make the playoffs? This one they was 1-1, I think. Or I mean, not 1-1, but yeah, 2-1. So look, man, I'm gonna pass the mic to Coach. I've been rambling, you know what I'm saying, but I ain't really get a chance to come out with no real video about this win because I was hyped. I'm not gonna front. I was hyped. I was excited. And look, man, if you ain't with it, please get your ass out the way. Go ahead, Coach.
No, I mean you said it best. I mean, it's not really much. I mean,
I
I
just
mean the
hate the fact
team,
that everybody gets on the bandwagon now.
but that's
Like
that
why? Like
that's
why jump on the
it's,
bandwagon now?
because that's how it's always been, bro. No matter what sport, what team, whatever. If you're losing, nobody wants to be associated with you. It's only when you win.
Facts.
I mean, I remember when the 49ers back in the days were not the it thing to be associated with, and they started winning, and everybody jumped on the bandwagon. So that's just sports. That's just the way it is. Everybody wants to be associated with winners. Period.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be a bandwagoner? Okay, that's fine. You just ride in the back of the bus. That's the way I look at it. I mean, you just had to, back of the bus, back in the dump truck, however you want to classify it. That's really how, you know, it has to be, because eventually we're going to need them to s- show these players the support, especially in certain times. And, I mean, you want to be a bandwagon, that's right. But real fans, we know who you are. That's one thing we know. So, and I don't stress it. I don't worry about that. As far as this team, yeah, we've talked about it. We've broken down film. We've seen the
Hmm.
talent with certain guys.
Right.
Um, since the beginning. People were asking about Zimenez and get Zimenez out of here. And what did I
Hmm.
say? I said, why are they
Right.
keeping
You said it,
Zimenez
coach.
over Roche? I said because Zimenez can play the position that they want better. He's a better pass coverage than Roche. And Roche
And what do you
has
have in the game? A sack fumble.
exactly sack. He's all over the place. Look what he's been doing this season. It comes down to the coaches. They identify the players, what they're able to do, good coaching, putting the players in the position to be successful, good coaching, and just letting the players do their job, player period, good coaching. So, you know, um, I'm appreciating it. I'm loving it. You know, um, and I'm just taking it one game at a time, like I'll always say.
Hmm.
And, I'm looking forward to this weekend. That's pretty much it.
Facts, man. What you feel about this, Jeff? And shout out to you, man. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well, and I mean, how can you not be happy as a Giants fan? I mean, with the crap football we've had to watch for the past 10 years, how could you not be excited? And you were given I did give, said on multiple of my videos, and you can check them out, NYG. I shouted you because even before Pat said it, you were the first one that talked about Darius Slayton. I shouted you out every single time
Hmm.
saying that you
Yeah, I
were the one
appreciate
that
that.
always talked about Darius Slayton getting a shot and that he could be a factor in this offense. You were right. You were right on that, and you were right on this team being a lot better than people thought. And I think the number one reason is coaching. I think the number one reason
Hmm.
why this team is where they are right now is they have an outstanding coaching staff, and I would say the best coaching staff collectively in the NFL. From defensive coordinator to offensive coordinator to head coach to special teams coordinator and assistant coaches, the Giants have the best assembled coaching staff in the NFL, getting the
Hmm.
most out of talent that most coaching staffs would not get the most out of the talent that we have because we don't have a lot of talent on this team, but this coaching staff is getting the most out of these players, and that's what you need to be a successful team in the NFL. And I'm gonna give us, you know what? I'm gonna give a shout out to another guy. I'm gonna give a shout out to the Miz because the Miz made a damn good point about Dave Gettleman. We all shout on Dave Gettleman. Look at the players now that are contributing on this team. They're Dave Gettleman picks. A lot of these guys are
Hmm.
Dave Gettleman picks that are getting it done. And The Miz said that in his video. He was talking about Daniel Jones, shitting on him. Daniel Jones is looking pretty good right now. He could be a possible franchise quarterback. Saquon Barkley,
Yep.
the guy right now is the best running back in football. And I don't want
Hands
to see
down.
anybody else tell us otherwise. Julian Love, I've been shouting this guy out the entire time all off season. This guy's a glue guy, and I think he's vital to keep on this team. Andrew Thomas, top left tackle in football. Dexter Lawrence, one of the best interior defensive tackles in the game. O'Shane Ximines, who I was one of those people that want to get them the hell out of here. I was not a fan of O'Shane Ximines. You know what? Coaching staff, they're getting the most out of O'Shane Ximines, and this guy's contributing. He's got a couple of sacks on the season, including, like you said, a forced fumble against the Packers. Xavier McKinney, top level safety in this league. I can go on. Tay Crowder, Mr. Irrelevant. Since we got Jalen Smith in here, that's another guy that Dave Gettleman brought in last year. I know Shane brought him back, but look what Jalen Smith is. I mean, this team right now is just, I'm not going to say we're over exceeding expectations, but this team right now is getting it done in all aspects of the game. Darius Slayton too, like you said. Darius Slayton's another guy, and I'm
Yep.
so happy to be dead wrong on Darius Slayton because I was one of those guys that didn't want him here. I thought it was best to move on from Darius Slayton, so I'm happy I'm wrong about that. And then I changed my tune and want to see this guy get a chance. But it's just the coaching on this team is so fantastic to get these guys in the best position to. I am staying on my side, Joel. I've stayed on my side the whole time. But you know what? It's a free country. If I want to flip to the other side, I can do that. It's my choice to do that. So you can front on that, or you can. If I want to choose to go on the other side with the perspective I have, I'm allowed to do that as well as anybody else. You're allowed to change your
Right.
mind. So in terms of this team, I just love everything that this team is putting together because it's reminding us so much of why we were a successful team back in the 2000s and the 80s, running the football, stopping the run, playing good
Mm-hmm.
pass defense, play action passing, quarterback play that might not throw up the gaudy stats, but he's getting the job done in terms of clutch plays. And at this point, when it comes to Daniel Jones, and I talked about this in my video that I made in my recap, Daniel Jones, I don't care at this point if this dude throws 100 yards or if he throws for
DC, how
400
you doing?
yards. I don't care what's going on, DC. I don't care what Daniel Jones' stats are anymore. All I care about is if this guy's going on the field and making the clutch plays. And that's exactly what he did with a busted up ankle, with a cut hand
Mm-hmm.
and cut wrist. He was gutting it out, wasn't turning the ball over. He was making good, precise runs. Remember, Saquon Barkley was out of the game for a little bit, and Daniel Jones led that offense down the field with backup
Facts. And shout
receivers
out to
and no
Barkley for coming
Saquon
back in
Barkley.
the game. Yeah.
Exactly. And all he did was catch a 41-yard big pass down the sideline, had that amazing juke play on the defender, pretty much took him out of his seat. So, I mean, this team is playing the exact way and what made us a successful franchise before. And like Coach said before, I don't really care what people say on the, if people want to jump on the bandwagon now, because you know what? We can relate to the Nets. How many people jumped on the Brooklyn Nets bandwagon when they got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving? Everybody did. People are going to do that because they
Mm-hmm.
want to be part of the winning team. We know who the real fans are. The real fans are the ones that will stay out there when this team sucks all throughout that whole
Yes.
entire time and stick by them. Those are what the real
Yep.
fans are. I don't care who jumps on the bandwagon. Like Coach says, you're in the back of the bus. That's exactly where you are. You're going to be sitting in the back of that bus while the real fans are going to be up in the front because they've been supporting this team the entire time through down times and through high times. So, as Giants fans, how can we not be thrilled? And kudos to Lou, kudos to Pat, kudos to you, Coach, and kudos to you, MYG. You guys were right. I was dead wrong on some of the takes I had. So I want to continue and enjoy this ride because it's been a long time coming for us Giants fans. And let's just go out there and see where this team could take us into the rest of the season.
Facts, man. I'm not gonna knock you like that, Jeff, because a lot of fans were down on the Giants. I've been down on the Giants. You know what I'm saying? But to me, when they hired Wink Martindale, Brian Dable, it just felt different, man. You know what I'm saying? And this team, let me tell you something about this team. Last year, this team in those games against the Packers, games like the Packers, games like the Titans we played, you know, even the Panthers game, the Giants would have lost those games. You know what I'm saying? Let's not act like the Giants have just been last year. They were down a lot because of what they did not have Jones, and they were starting Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm. You know what I'm saying? I think Mike of Jones actually would have started some of those games. The Giants might have even had a chance to win some games on the back end of last season. So despite being 4-13, this team was in a lot of games, especially the beginning of the season. So the difference is not so much in talent, it's in the coaching. That's how you know. Because if you got a team that was almost winning last year, oh, they lost to Washington. Oh, they blew a game against Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are games we're winning now. That's the difference. And as you said, shout out to the old school Giants. When I mean the old school Giants, I mean the Giants, as you said, that was drafted by Dave Gettleman, that didn't suffer through the losing, that didn't suffer, then been booed off the field. You know what I'm saying? That they had injuries and had their careers and confidence shattered because the team's been so bad and the fans have been so negative. Shout out to those guys for pushing through. You know what I'm saying? You mentioned them: Slayton, Jones, Barkley, Zimenez, Dexter Lawrence. These were guys that were drafted by the Giants. Julian Love, you know what I'm saying? That's been here for some years, So kudos to those cats. You know what I'm saying? For going and sticking with the team, not complaining, not going in the media and you know what I'm saying stupid shit like some people. You know what I'm saying? So, like, shout out to those cats. Darius Slayton took a fucking pay cut to be on this team, and the fans dogged this dude. Like, that's messed up, man. But the man had the mental fortitude in order to overcome a drop in the past game where he was getting killed for, to come out there and say, "Look, man, I'm still a football player." Bunt what these fans are saying. I'm about to go in here and light it up against Green Bay. You know what I'm saying? So Jones, the same thing. He's been getting killed, absolutely destroyed by the fans. You know what I'm saying? And dude just went out there and said, "Look, man, I'm gonna play football. Damn, having an ankle sprain." And like I said before, I got an ankle sprain right now. That shit hurt like hell.
I sprained
So
my ankle last year, and it does. It killed. It's like you can barely even walk around because I sprained my
yes,
ankle, and it's
no,
really,
no
really, really.
bullshit, man. So that's what I'm talking about, man. Toughness, grit. You know what I'm saying? Heart. You know what I'm saying? To want to go out there and still play and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's the team right there. That's the team to root for. I don't want my team to put up 40 points and lose 45-40 and say, "Oh, we got a dominant offense, but our defense is some shit." I don't want my team to go out there and hold teams to 6 points, but you only scored three. Oh, we got a dominant defense, but our offense is shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want your offense and your defense to play well for most of the game to have your kicker come out there and boot a kick and miss a field goal. Oh, we need a better kicker. Our special teams suck. This team is playing well on all three phases of the game.
Mhm.
So who got a problem with that? Come holler at me. Unpopular opinion sports. Pull up. Heart of the city. Let's go. Let me shout out the chat real quick. Levance, I see you. Nisi, I see you. Hit, what's good? Joe, what's good, man? Thank y'all for tuning in, man. You know what I'm saying? We do this every Tuesday, man. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. You know what I'm saying? And definitely go sub to my co-hosts up here, Coach Ed and Mr. Jeffy T 85. So, you know what I'm saying? But that's the Giants story. You know what I'm saying? That's the Giants story. Now we got Baltimore coming up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure there's gonna be doubters and people out there. Oh yeah, well, Lamar Jackson. He knows Wink's defense. They're pretty good, and the Ravens have a really good offense, and so on and so forth. And can he stop Lamar Jackson? That's gonna be the story. Shout out to Pat. This the new supervillain of the week, Lamar Jackson. So yeah. I think personally, Lamar Jackson is playing very well, but Lamar Jackson is turning the ball over a lot too. You know what I'm saying? And the Giants are due to get some turnovers. Um, at some point as far as interceptions and stuff like that. They don't have an interception on the season, which is okay. You know what I'm saying? Because we're getting fumbles and fumble recoveries. So that's good. You know what I'm saying? And we're not turning the ball over. So that's even better. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, these guys are going to start getting interceptions. It's going to come, and it's going to come in bunches. You know what I'm saying? And this could be the game. This could be the game because a good defense can beat a good offense. So we got to understand that, Lamar Jackson is human. Lamar Jackson is basically a souped up, much better version of Justin Fields, a quarterback we already seen this year. You know what I'm saying? Justin Fields did do some damage on the run game against us, but they adjusted as they always do in the second half, and they shut that shit down. So I'm looking for a similar game plan that they had against Justin Fields. You know what I'm saying? Where you're gonna want to limit uh and keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? make him beat you with his arm. He can do that, but at the same time, if you give him different looks and disguise your blitzes and things, which Wink is very good at, I do believe that yeah, we could take this game against the Ravens too, man. 5-1, man. Who with me? God
Mhm.
damn it, 5-1, man.
Mhm.
We ain't
Mhm.
stopping. I ain't scared of no team. What team on the schedule you scared of?
Mhm.
At the
None.
beginning of the schedule, I wasn't scared of nobody. If
None.
people say Green Bay, Baltimore. Okay, so here's Green Bay. Poof, get them out the way. Baltimore. I'm gonna tell you guys something. For real. Unpopular opinion sports. Our biggest challenge this year is gonna be in the division. I don't really see anybody outside the division giving us that much problem. Not saying we're
Mhm.
gonna win every game outside of the division, but our challenge is gonna be in the division because those teams know you, and we're all very good right now. Dallas, Philly, and the Giants. Washington is gonna be in the basement. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
yeah, I think the biggest challenge is gonna come from within the division. We're already down one in the division. So, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna be our biggest challenge. And I think, if we split at best in the division, yeah, 11-6. That's gonna be what it is.
I'm thinking
You know what
higher
I'm
than
saying?
11-6. That's not good enough for me. I would even think higher because this league right now is very pedestrian, and that's the one thing that the NFL is showing right now is there's
What's
no
good,
real
Wells?
dominant team. How you doing, Wales? There's no real dominant team in the NFL. I mean, who would you really
Mm-mm.
say in the NFL this year is a surefire dominant team in both leagues? I wouldn't say any.
There
Kansas
ain't
City's had
one.
moments. No,
That's
Kansas
why
City's had their moments, but that's it.
Mhm. Dominant. Yeah. There's no.
there's no dominant team.
Mm-mm. No.
And I
It's
didn't see a
no.
dominant team coming into this season to be for real, because that's just not how the NFL works.
Hmm.
NFL is full of parity. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You're going to have teams go up and down. That's what kills me about people. They pick the same damn teams to be good every freaking year as if this it's no parity at all. Like, you
Mhm.
know, the Baltimore, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, LA Rams, they just gonna win year in and year out, never lose no players, never get no injuries, never take a step back with coaching or anything like that. That's what people don't look at. They don't look at the deeper things to what the way this league works. The NFL created that. They want parity. So when I looked at the team, as far as the Giants and even the Jets, we're gonna get into the Jets. I picked the Jets to
They're
do
a good team
well.
too.
Yeah, and they're doing a little bit better than I even thought. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people thought I was crazy for picking the Jets to win 7 games.
A lot of people thought I was
Now
crazy
they
picking
might
the
win.
Jets to win 9 games this year because I
They
picked the
might
Jets to
win
be a good
10
team.
games. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah. I mean, because there's parity. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
saying? The Buffalo Bills ain't gonna dominate year in and year out. The Kansas City Chiefs ain't gonna dominate year in and year out. Ain't nobody dominated this league year in and year out except maybe New England. And I got a take on them, but I'm gonna save that for later. You know what I'm saying? But pretty much that's it. As far as the past, 20 something years,
Yeah.
we can go into the 90s, you know what I'm saying, with those teams back then, or the 70s with the Steelers. But look, man, league's got parity, man. You got to understand that these teams ain't gonna be dominant every single day. So that being said, look, man, this game coming up is not nothing to be scared of. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I think our biggest challenge is gonna be within the division. You know what I'm saying? Stop me if I'm saying something out of character, or if my unpopular opinion take is too much to stomach for some of you guys. But
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think you're
go
absolutely 100% right. I look at the schedule and I apologize to interrupt,
ahead.
but I
Nah, go
absolutely
ahead. I'm done.
100% agree. I'm looking at the schedule right now, and everybody, I mean, we thought maybe Indianapolis would be a better team. They look like a team right now in turmoil. I mean, We looked
Yeah.
at the Packers. Look at the Packers right now. The Packers are not this dominant force that they were in the past. I mean, you look at teams like Seattle and Jacksonville, they're a lot better than people thought. People thought that they weren't going to be good teams. They're actually not bad this year. And Houston, even too. They got their first win. They're a
Mm-hmm.
nice, gritty team. The NFL, that's the one reason why we all love the NFL, is because it's the parity reason and because of the salary cap where every single team, if you're able to get the right coaching, if you're able to get the right players in there, you make the right moves in the draft or free agency, who knows if it could be your year this year. I mean, look at the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Pittsburgh Steelers are a mess. Everybody keeps saying the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be a great team every year. Mike Tomlin's about to have his worst year this year because that team is not good. I mean,
Nah.
like you said, the Packers, they're not going to be good every year, and they look like a team about to go into turmoil. I mean,
Look at
that's
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay too, exactly.
They
These
look
teams are not,
suspect as hell.
and even Buffalo. Buffalo's got some injuries on that defense that they could play against the right team that's got a good passing offense as well as a good offensive line to protect against their pass rush. They can exploit that Buffalo Bills defense. So no team in this league right now is dominant. And I agree, looking at that schedule right now, that game against Dallas has a salty taste in my mouth because we should have won that game.
Should have won.
And
I
we
agree.
need to, if we really want to go where we think we can go this year, we have to beat our teams in the division.
And I
Have
said
to
that
be
at the beginning of the
3-3
season.
or
Yep.
4-2 at
That's
worst.
exactly what I said.
Have to do it because we cannot go up against Dallas and Philly. They're great teams too. They're both of them are getting it done. You have to respect them. They're good teams. We have to beat them. We cannot get swept by both those teams and be like, oh, we're going to pound on the horrible Washington Commanders team. We have to get it done and either split with both Philly and Dallas or sweep them. We have to get it done in the division if we think we're going to be going where we believe we're going to go this year. Because if we can't get it done in the division,
Yeah.
man, what the hell?
You ain't going nowhere.
Exactly.
Let me let Coach get in here. I'm gonna just say one thing to piggyback off what you just said. This division is the best division in football right now. And that's a turnaround from being one of the worst, if not the worst. And when you look at the teams, all three teams are getting it done in similar fashions. Defense. Look, all three teams are top 10 in the NFL, and I believe pass defense, points given up per game. You know what I'm saying? These teams are getting it done defensively. They got good running games. You know what I'm saying? And they got quarterbacks that know how to play within the system, within what's around them. You know what I'm saying? Nobody expected Cooper Rush to be any good. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are down on Hurts. Most everybody still is down on Daniel Jones. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Levance. No disrespect. Daniel Jones had their franchise quarterback, and I'll agree with that. I will agree. Daniel Jones not going nowhere. We got the quarterback. Let's build the dang system around him. You know what I'm saying? You bring back Tyrod Taylor. You got a decent backup, man. It's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? We don't need another quarterback to come in here to set our franchise back. You know what I'm saying? 4 or 5 years. You know, he's shown enough growth to me to be able to roll with him. This guy's still young. He's 25 years old. So, you still got years and years. The biggest thing with Jones is going to be if he can stay healthy. He's still taking too many hits. But outside of that, I mean, he does that, you know what I'm saying, because of effort. You know what I'm saying? Most quarterbacks wouldn't take those type of hits, but he's an effort player. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this division is tough, man, and I agree with you, man. The NFC East is going to be the test for the Giants. I don't really think. I'm not saying they're gonna win every game outside of the division, but I think the biggest test is gonna be within that division. Go ahead, Coach.
All right. First things first, score updates. Middle of the fifth, Yankees and Cleveland are tied at 1. And in the hockey, Tampa Bay and Rangers are tied at 1 in the second period. So just wanted to give a little update.
Cool. That's what's up, man. Appreciate the update.
In terms of I'm going to start with Baltimore because that's who we're up against. I spoke about it yesterday in terms of defending the Ravens. First things first, it's going to be a very physical game. It's going to be a chippy game. Wink is definitely out to prove that Baltimore made a big mistake in letting him go, of course. And the defensive players, dare I say, the whole team is going to want to step up and prove to Baltimore that, and thank them for allowing us to capitalize and get Wink as our defensive coordinator.
Facts.
On the flip side, JPP is over there, so he's going to want to stick it to this organization. Yankees just went up, just scored a run. They're now up 2-1.
Let's go.
Um, so that's going to be very interesting. Now, today on NFL Now, they were talking to Brian Baldinger, and he alluded a little bit to this. He alluded to Wink knowing Baltimore. He knows Coach Harbaugh. He knows Lamar. So psychologically, he's going to try and get into their heads. He's going to do that because what? Why? Because he's been in that locker room. He's practiced against Lamar every day. Been in meetings, so he knows that the personnel. He knows the system. He knows that defense, so he can help the offense. By giving them little pointers, little hints. On how to attack the defenders. So that's where we have a great advantage in terms of Wink. So and we definitely need to use that to our advantage. Now, the one thing that does concern me about the game, because and it's a testament to good coaching, but we have to start fast. We have to start getting
Yeah.
into a habit of starting fast, because yes, we make great adjustments and we come back fast in the second half and, we play a great game. But, sometimes you got to start fast because you know what? You're not going to be able to have it in the second half. You may adjust, you may make certain and important adjustments, but you might be too far back, whatever the case may be, or it's just that type of a game. So, you know, that's the next step, in this offense's growth and maturation. Excuse me, is being able to start out fast in the first half. So, I'm definitely looking for that, these next few games. So now, um, in terms of the season, all right, you guys know me. I like looking at one game at a time, but
Hmm.
you know, we're fans. We get it. We do look ahead. Even coaches and players, you do look ahead. You try to stay in the moment, but you do try and look ahead a little bit to see what you have. And I'm going to say this. All right, we already have 4 wins. That's in our back pocket. We split the rest of our games. We have 12 games left. We split. That's 10 wins.
Mm,
Think about that. We had 4 wins last year.
right.
The possibility of just split, and you get 10 wins.
Mm,
And now we're going to go through the schedule and we're going to look at it and we could say, we should win this one, we should win that one, so on and so forth. Just like they're going to do the same thing when it comes to us. They're going to say that they should get a win against us, whatever. But the point is, if you split, that's 10 wins. How many people in this Giants fandom would take 10 wins? Every
absolutely.
last
Yeah.
one of us. Every last one of us. So I'm going to say this, ladies and gentlemen, sit back and enjoy the ride. Really, don't matter what, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, just enjoy it because where we have come from to where we are now, the league already knows that we are here. They do. We, in a sense, we continue to get our respect. Are there those who still hate on Daniel Jones? Yes. Are there those who still hate on different players on this team? Yes. But from where we've come from to where we are now, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Hmm.
Now, I need to say this because you guys said something earlier about being right and being wrong. One thing I'm going to try and stop doing is with Mr. Dave Gettleman, because y'all know I call him Ghetto Bum. But you guys just made some valid points in terms of the players that he's brought in. Now they're getting coached up, so
That's the difference.
it's not carte blanche with him. The bottom line is, he had the wrong coaches in place, but those players had talent, and this coaching staff is bringing them out of. They're bringing the best out of these players. So, so in terms of Mr. Gettleman, I'm going to work on trying to stop calling him out of his name. So,
I mean, that's it. As far as free agency, nah, he was ghetto bomb. I mean, a
It doesn't.
GM just can't be drafting. You know what I'm saying? And still, you know what I'm
No,
saying?
no,
It's free
no,
agency
no,
and
no.
drafting.
Yes, but the bottom line is if you break it down, then that's 50-50.
Yeah.
That's average. He's not a bum. We're saying
Mhm.
I have to say in fairness, he's not a
Okay. What
bum.
else? I mean,
He's not
Lance.
he's not in the toilet. That was the whole point.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
blamed
yeah.
him
Gotcha.
for, just all the problems and it's not and that's what I'm getting at. I'm wrong for that. So, you
Hmm.
know, and that's because you guys are, and sometimes I tend to be, as my best friend, she always tells me, you have an elitist attitude, Ed, and I'm like, yeah, I know I do. When it comes to sports, I do, and I need to
Hmm.
check myself. So, and I appreciate that. You know, just because I'm in my 50s doesn't mean I can't change. So, but getting back to our New York Football Giants, we just need to sit back and enjoy it. Um,
Mhm.
and going
Yeah.
forward, we talked about Daniel Jones and our franchise quarterback. Please, I know there are some that want him to be that. There are some that don't. Whatever. Anything that we do going forward, seriously, take a look at salary cap numbers. I
Coach,
can't
you and I
stress
talked
enough.
about it last night. We talked
Yeah,
about it last night too.
Mm.
I was listening to the Twitter whatever chat thing that they have, and
Oh,
someone
Twitter
was
Spaces.
yeah, one of the guys was talking about over the cap, and if you take out Kenny Galladay's contract, it's 54, and if you take it out, it goes up to 70. And I'm saying to myself, that's not what I'm taking, but all right, whatever. And then he's talking about television projections that the possibility is we can have $100 million. I don't know. I'm trying to find out, but if we don't, Daniel Jones is going to cost us money, whether you franchise tag him
That's
or you
true.
sign him as a salary cap with the salary. And with guys that we have to resign, don't forget we have to resign Dexter, Xavier McKinney, Andrew Thomas, all
Hmm.
these young guys. These contracts are coming up that we have to have that money. So whether we're 54 or 100 million, we got to have that money to be able to pay these guys as well as our draft picks next year wherever we're drafting. So if we want Daniel Jones, great. He continues to prove himself, great. But please understand the market for a quarterback, it's going to be, I dare I say, 35 to maybe pushing close to 40.
Yeah. That's a lot of dough.
And
That's a
Saquon
lot.
Barkley's going to get a big contract too. You got to think
Yep.
about that as well.
And that's the thing. That's the other thing. Like if you sign Daniel Jones, then with your salary cap and everything that you have to do we have the money to re-sign Saquon? Or if
Gotta
we
sign him.
re-sign with Saquon, then does that mean we keep Daniel Jones? So all I got to say is let's just enjoy the ride right now. After the season, let's look at the salary cap numbers. The experts will tell us exactly what the numbers are going to be. Then we can do our projections from there. Because
Hmm.
right now, I sit and I listen, and it's just I don't want to say it is sickening sometimes, but now I'm just to the point. I don't care. People are going to have opinions are like every last one of us has them. They're like buttholes. We all
Right.
have them, and there's some, and a lot of times, most times, they're full of crap.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So just let's enjoy the ride. Let's enjoy what our team is doing. When we're at the games, let's support our team. Let's make it hard for the other team. let's have intelligent conversations and debates, and not get to the point where it's so toxic. But bottom line, enjoy it, because we haven't had this in a long time. We
Mm-hmm.
haven't.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go back to the 70s. Like, yeah, most of y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know the type of pain true New York Giants fans had,
The
because
70s was bad.
Yeah, I feel
they
you,
went
man.
decades. I'm talking about, I believe it's from the late 50s, early 60s, up until we went to the Super Bowl in '86.
It's true.
So think about that. Yeah, it's tough. 10 years is tough. We're spoiled in a sense, but how many of us would want to stick around 25 years and deal with futility, complete futility? So let's enjoy the
Mm-hmm.
ride. Whatever. Have good
Hmm.
conversations like this, like Heart of the City. But and if people are being toxic, whatever, seriously, just brush them out, brush them off, man. Brush them off your shoulder and keep it moving, man. Because that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Same thing,
I,
Coach.
I like it, Coach. Just one quick point before we
Mhm.
move off the Giants. Just looking at the Giants' upcoming schedule, they got Baltimore at home, Jacksonville in Jacksonville, week 7, and then they go to Seattle, and then they got a week 9 bye. So I mean, potentially this team could be um what 7-1 or 6-2 at the
Mhm.
halfway point.
Mhm.
So I mean, like you said, Coach, anybody in their right mind would have signed up for that at the start of the
Mhm.
season. So we got to be excited about this team, but this team is due to have a slip up here and there. So
Mhm.
when
Mhm.
they do, don't get too down, don't
Mhm.
get too high when they win. Try to stay that even kill, um, mind frame. And that's what we try to do over here. Not want to show some positivity, you know what I'm saying, but it's reasonable positivity. Nobody's saying the Giants are gonna go, 16-1 or anything like that, But that's just reason for optimism. Like I said, I believe our biggest challenge is gonna be within the division. Anybody outside the division, um, concerned, but I think we can I think we can handle that. I think, the biggest test, next biggest test, I believe is gonna come Thanksgiving against Dallas.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the Jets here for a little bit, man. 40-17, man. Shout out to the Jets, man. They did damn thing, man. I mean, they rushed for 135 yards. Zach Wilson didn't do anything spectacular. But I mean, the Jets were able to sort of beat up on this backup. I don't even know his name, Thompson. I don't know where Miami got this guy from.
Skylar
Oh,
Thompson, he's a
seventh
rookie.
seventh round pick. Okay,
Mhm.
um, so he's a rookie, man, but doesn't matter. You play who's out there on the field, and shout out to the Jets, man, for putting up 40 on Miami. They beat the Miami Dolphins and the Steelers back to back weeks, I believe. So,
Mhm.
um, his team's on the rise as well, man. His team's on the rise, and they're getting it done in a similar way of the Giants with the running game and the defense, man. Shout out to Brees Hall, man. He had what almost 200 yards from scrimmage. Like that's ridiculous, man.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And then of course they got Michael Carter. He had a couple touchdowns in the game.
Mhm.
And they just kind of put it on cruise control, man. Kind of put it on cruise control. Got a couple sacks, man. Shout out to Sauce Gardner. He's been playing dynamite, Barrios, he's been playing pretty good. Got a big return on special teams, So look, man, a lot of people were down on the Jets, but look, they 3-2, man. They're 3-2, and what's New England's record?
I
I
think they're 1-3 or two
Mhm.
and
think
three.
No,
yeah. So the
Two
Jets are
and
in
no, I
three.
second
think
place. They're right
I
behind
think wait a
Buffalo.
minute, wait a
So
minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'll tell you one second. New England, New England, New England.
yeah, I want to
New
say that. I
England
want
is
to.
2-3.
Yeah, so they still there. They still behind Buffalo.
Hmm.
I mean, they still above New England and Miami because they beat
Hmm.
they beat Miami head to head. So yeah, shout out to the Jets, man. A lot of people had them down in the dumps. You know, it wasn't looking too pretty good at the beginning of the season, but since they gotten Zach Wilson back, man, his team's played better, and he's playing pretty good. He's pulling a Daniel Jones. He's not knocking your socks off, but he's getting the job done, man. He's holding the team down, playing within the system, and look, man, Jets Giants, man. This is why I love doing Heart of the City. This is the first episode I made of this podcast, man. Was myself, you, and Coach, man. We said our New York City teams on the rise, and look
Mhm.
what's happening, man. You know what I'm saying? Look what's happening. Jets winning record. Giants winning record. Yankees Mets both in the playoffs, and we'll see what the Knicks and Nets do. I'm optimistic about both teams. We'll get to them a little bit later, but um, yeah, the Jets, man, they're on the rise. Let me take a peek here at the Jets upcoming schedule. Just want to see what their outlook is. So they got the Packers next. Okay.
Hmm.
The Packers can be had as we've exposed. Then the Broncos, ugh, that Broncos team is in disarray. And
Mhm.
then they got the Patriots. So hey, the Jets could go on a little win streak here. You know what I'm saying? Might be tough against the Packers. Might be getting a little wanting to get a little get back, but hey, look, man, you know you can expose that team if you take what we did, and I feel pretty good about the Jets going against the Broncos and the Patriots. So we'll see with the Jets, man. But glad to see Zach Wilson get back out there, and start to put together some good tape, man, some good things, man, and start to gain some confidence, man, as the Jets start to build something. Shout out to what's the coach name on offense? LaFleur.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Mike LaFleur.
Yeah, man. He's doing his thing over there with the Jets, man. They putting up points. You know what I'm saying? They putting up points, man. And um again, that shout out to coaching, man. Shout out to coaching, man. But what's your thought on the Jets here, coach? Then I'll come around to you, Jeffy.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, Green Bay can be had, but they're still going to Green Bay, and Green Bay is going to be playing angry,
Yeah, it's gonna be
so
tough.
it's
I
going to
agree.
be a tough game. Even the Denver game is going to be tough because you have to go to Denver and playing it in that elevated atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's also something that's going to be tricky. So
They
you know,
giving away games though over there in Denver, man. It's
hmm
like
hmm
it's like yeah, it's like you know what I'm saying, like a free soup line or something. They just just
hmm
giving out dinners, man, giving out plates. Man. W.
but if they split these, they're in good position. They really are because, like you
Yeah,
said, they
no doubt.
come back home for Denver, then Buffalo, and they're both playing it. Both those games are in at MetLife, so
Mm-hmm.
the opportunities are there. And with those next four games, you're really going to end up seeing
Mm-hmm.
where the Jets are. Are they contenders or pretenders? And that's really what it boils down to. So,
Yeah.
but they, like you said, they've been playing good. They've been playing good, fundamentally sound offensively in terms of balancing out their philosophy. Offense and defense, using the run to help the defense, and the defense to control. So, and the offense is also controlling the clock. Once they got away from throwing the ball 30, 40 times a game.
Yeah.
I mean, stick to the ground game. That's what you're good at. And yes, Wilson just coming back and he's getting in a rhythm. Let it build up. Naturally. You know, um, it'll come because they do have some great receivers over there. So
Yeah.
and I mean, it's interesting. I mean, we even forgot about Mims. He hasn't really been
Yeah.
in the
He's yeah.
flow of things.
He's
So
done a whole lot.
so it's that offense. If Wilson really can step it up, yeah, then it's the opportunities are there for them. But I mean, it is impressive what they're doing over there because I didn't expect it myself. So
Yeah. What you think about the Jets? Jeffy.
Well, I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but I was one of the few people that was actually looking at this Jets team and said that this team could be one of those sleeper teams this year because of the fact they have so much impressive young talent on this squad. I mean,
Yeah.
when you look, and that's one of the reasons why I made my statement saying that I think the Jets have more talent than the Giants do, but I think the Giants obviously have better coaching. But the Jets are
Mhm.
a very, very talented team, and they're very young. And this coaching staff right now, it's starting to get the most out of this young talent because you look at that offense, especially, and we talk about Andrew Thomas being a great tackle. Go watch Elijah Vera Tucker and what that guy is doing right now. He's played left guard, left tackle, and then this past week he's played right tackle, and he's done a damn good job at every one of
Mm.
those positions. The former first-round pick out of USC.
Yes, mhm.
Elijah Vera Tucker is a damn good offensive lineman, and you got Laken Tomlinson over there. I mean,
Yeah.
Brees Hall. This kid is going to be a
Hey, he's a
scary
monster,
running
man.
back. He is going to be a
Yeah.
scary running back if he stays healthy. He is a good.
Shout out
He's
to New
going to be
York
what
running backs, man. Saquon
exactly
and even the backups, Breed
Michael Carter
and
too.
Michael
Yeah,
Carter. Yeah.
the Jets probably have the most talented or one of the most talented duo at running backs right now in the NFL between Michael Carter and Brees Hall. Zach Wilson, and I like what you said about the comparisons with Daniel Jones. He's not flashing great stats out there, but you know what he's not doing? Like you said, he's not turning the football over. He's
Mm-hmm.
making clutch plays when they need to be. He's running the football. He's throwing the football to his guys. They're getting contributions from their free agent, a receiver that they signed last year, and Corey Davis.
Corey
Unlike what
Davis is
we're getting with
balling.
Galladay, he's playing very well. I mean, Garrett Wilson, I think, is going to be a stud at that wide receiver position. I like Elijah Moore. Barrios is like that intangible wide receiver you need out there. Sauce has been looking damn good. Carl
Yeah.
Lawson. Carl Lawson's starting to ball over there with the Jets. That their defensive and slash outside
Mm-hmm.
linebacker who just came back from ACL surgery again. He's playing well. Quentin Williams, he got that big fumble recovery. I think it was a sack force fumble in that play.
Mm-hmm.
So Quentin Williams is playing really well. I mean, the Jets. Why can't the Jets be a team that could surprise people, especially in an AFC that we thought that the Colts, the AFC West, some of these other teams would be really good? You know what? The AFC is as wide open as the NFC is right now, and the Jets could be one of those teams that if they could find a way to continue to get the most out of their young talent, and kudos to Robert Saleh because he was getting a lot of flack too, and Joe Douglas, both of them
Yeah.
have done a pretty damn good job. They've done a pretty good job turning this Jets team around. So it's not out of the question this Jets team could sneak up on people the rest of the season if they can continue to get the most out of this of the young talent they have on this roster. So yeah, it's great to see New York football back after the crap football we have. Remember, for the past decade, we had the two worst football teams
Yeah.
in the league, statistic wise, in terms of win loss record for the past decade. It's so nice to see football is back in the New York area with both the Giants
Facts.
and the Jets starting to turn it around and give us something to be excited about past October. Because we all know when football season's been around the past decade, Jets and Giants fans were pretty much getting ready for NBA basketball and baseball off season because both the football teams were eliminated by Halloween or early November. It's nice to see we might actually have a football season this year with both the Giants and the Jets. So kudos to the Jets. They're doing a hell of a job so far, and hopefully they're going to be able to progress throughout the rest of the season too.
We got a score update, man. Shout out to Taj. Yankees
4-1.
4-1. Let's go.
Good for
Let's
you guys.
go.
It's nice to see you
And
guys are actually can hit.
yeah,
I'll get into that disgrace later because I have a lot to say about that
we're gonna
disgrace.
transition right now. We're gonna transition right now. Couple points though, I do want to make about the Giants. Just getting into the chat here. Brian Dable, Coach of the Year. Joe Shane, General Manager of the Year. I agree. I think Dable, given what he's done with the talent he has, is doing the best coaching job in the NFL right now.
Mhm.
Not saying he's the best coach, but he's doing the best job of a coach this season as of right now, in my opinion. So I totally agree with that. Sentiment there. One other quick point I noticed, and I seen this kind of floating around on Twitter and and a couple articles. What's good with this DJ Moore situation? Talking about trading, possibly trading for the Panthers wide receiver. Looks like the Panthers are gonna go on a fire sale here. They got rid of Matt Rule. What are you guys' thoughts on potentially trading for a guy like DJ Moore?
Coach and I actually talked about this last night a little bit during the Monday Night Football game about the DJ Moore and also Terrace Marshall. Apparently, is the other wide
Mhm.
receiver the Giants might have inquired about.
Mm,
I mean, a lot of it I think it has to do with the fact that I think they're losing trust. And they might have either lost trust or they're losing trust in Kenny Galladay and Kadarius Toney, both of them, because the fact they both aren't staying healthy, and both of them there
hmm
might be issues behind the scenes with these guys, and maybe they're
Yeah,
just trying to inquire out there to see if what type of package it would take to get a guy like DJ Moore, who right now he's not making a large salary this year, but next year his
Mhm.
salary is going to jump up in
yeah,
2023 even though we will have cap space. He's 25/26 years old. He's had, I think, believe multiple 1,000-yard seasons. He'd
hmm
actually be a good fit for this system because of the type of receiver he is. But
yeah.
I just don't know if the Giants are willing to give up the type of
The
assets that maybe
assets.
Carolina is going to want. But at the same time, if Carolina is at the point where they're just trying to go on a fire sale and they're just trying to get rid of anybody that has a high salary, maybe they might call the Giants later on if the Giants are still not getting incredible production from the wide receiver position, and they might say, "Well, we'll give you DJ Moore for like say a fourth round pick or something because they're just trying to unload him." And if that's the case, I mean, I might
I
have to take
doubt
a chance.
that.
I doubt it too, but you never know if a team is desperate
Yeah.
enough to unload a player or two because they want to get rid of salary. We've seen it before in the NFL where
Mhm.
teams were willing to do whatever it takes to unload salary because they want to go into a full rebuild. So I don't know what to make of it right now. I mean, I think it's just rumors at the moment. I think the Giants are
Mm,
still waiting to see what they have in Wandale when he comes back, and even Kadarius Toney if he comes back anytime soon. But it's a nice talking point, and there's at least 21 days until the NFL trade deadline, so it's going to be
mm.
a nice speculation talking point for the next couple of weeks, especially if the wide receiver core doesn't give the type of production that we're expecting going forward, or if they just don't believe the guys we have are the full-on answers, because DJ Moore is a young player still. So go ahead,
Would
Coach.
you would you would you do thinking about it now? Would you do include Darius Tony in the trade?
I think you should.
I would. Yes, I would.
I think you should. I think if you package Tony and say a third
Hmm.
and maybe a
A
future
future.
second or something,
No, I would do if anything, I would do a future like a fourth or fifth because I'm not going to
okay.
give you a second and a third. That's and Kadarius Tony. That's a little bit too much for me.
Mm,
Mm,
But I would look at a third with him and then a
with
fourth.
him, yeah. Mm,
Then you could do that, or if you can get away with a fifth, then I would say yes because I'm also
mm,
looking at first and foremost the money. I just have
yeah.
to because
yeah.
after this year he's $19 million, so he's going up drastically from $1 million. So and
Mm,
Tony is still on a rookie deal. So
yeah.
so it's not a it's not God. I mean, if he doesn't pan out, then you're still getting something. Then you're getting two draft picks, as opposed to just giving them a second round straight up and nothing else. So
What do you
I
guys
Mm.
mean
think
that.
about Terrace Marshall, though, the other receiver?
I mean, we talked about it before. I mean, is he a number one? Because that's really what it boils down to. If he's
Yeah.
the
I want DJ Moore.
if he's a complimentary, we already have enough
Yeah.
complimentaries. But I mean, he's still a good player. I can't sit here and say he's not.
I think what the Giants need to do and what they're gonna try to do, maybe if not this season, because I mean they're getting by with what they got out there.
Hmm.
So um they gotta pair Jones with a number one at some point. Um,
Mm,
and DJ Moore is a number one receiver. You know what I'm saying? He's proven that in Carolina with shit quarterback play.
mm-hmm.
With not really Robbie Anderson. I mean, you know what I'm saying? they don't have a whole lot over there besides CMC. You
2-1
know,
Rangers.
oh,
Sorry,
that's what's up. Go
Rangers
ahead,
2-1.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Now go ahead.
Um, and that's the thing for me. You know what I'm saying? If you can if you could do a deal to get Jones a number one receiver, like Philly did with AJ Brown, like um they did over there in Buffalo with Diggs.
Mm.
Um, I think that could potentially take this team from a fringe playoff team to an actual contender in the NFC.
What
You know what
did
I'm saying?
what you call get for Brown from Philly?
They gave
It
up a
was a-
lot. That's what I'm saying. They gave up like a first.
I don't think they gave up a first.
Yeah, they
Oh, actually,
did.
no, you're right. They did.
They
Let
gave
me
up a
see.
first. Yeah.
Round
Um,
trade.
Yeah, but it's more on that caliber. Do you think it
I
really
don't
is?
think so. I think maybe a tier two below that, but he's still good. He's still good enough to, and he seems like a player that would fit, like you said, coach. He's not a devious style receiver. I mean, he goes out there. He's kind of a lunch pail type of workman type of receiver, and I think that fits well with this team and what they're building around here. So I would absolutely, man, try to look at a guy like DJ Moore. Like you said, if you can get Tony in that package, if Carolina take him, and you give him a couple picks, you know, um, you got the money this year to make it work, and then next year you got salary cap room. Now, here's the thing moving forward with the Giants, and I think this is what people got to understand and take a look at. You got to get creative when you structuring contracts for some of these players.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
We talked about
absolutely.
it with now you can sign these guys,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Shane and Dable, and I've said this before, I think they rather sign the players that's on the team right now that they're
Yep.
building with than go out there and get a bunch of high price free agents. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So if you can get more in here, it's 19 million. That's high, but he's not Kenny Galladay. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can get that. You can bring back Jones on a 2 to 3 year deal if you make the money work, structure it right. Maybe you have to
Mm-hmm.
franchise one of him or Saquon Barkley, or maybe you have to franchise. I think it's is it no, it's no, they picked up Dexter's
Yes.
fifth year's option.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the only ones that are up for contract right now of the
Oh,
main
Julian
group.
Love too.
Julian Love, yeah. I think they can. I think they can re-sign Julian Love on a reasonable deal. I mean, he's not a spectacular player. He's a glue guy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
Here's what
um,
here's what
but
the Titans got for they got the number 18 and the 101 pick, so they only got two picks.
hmm
Like a
So
first
but
and a
they did get a
fourth.
first though.
no, they
Yeah.
got a first. But what I was saying is, if we're including Kadarius Tony,
hmm
then you're
That'll be
getting
offset.
that's why you don't want to give up so much like that, you know.
Tony in a
So,
third is kind of like a first, I guess.
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
hmm
and then you give him a future pick.
You think
Yeah.
Carolina
hmm
would do that?
Um,
hmm
they would, but the problem is the Giants might get outbid by another team. You know
It's
what I'm
true.
saying? That's looking for a receiver. That's my only concern.
Yeah.
But I think they should absolutely pull the trigger. Look, your team is in contention. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we in the cellar dweller no more. If you're in a contention midpoint of the season, say they go on and win against Baltimore and win the next 3 games, and they sit at 7-1 or even 6-2, around the bye. I mean, hey, why not go out there and try to boost your club, man, and put you over the top?
And Joe
hmm
Shane's
Because
hmm
aggressive too. He's an aggressive
yeah,
GM. He will go out there and he will make the necessary moves to help his team.
right, and they're clearly looking for a receiver. We already know that.
Yeah.
Clearly they are. You know what I'm saying? So,
hmm
Darius Tony, I don't believe is the answer. I'm willing to give the guy a shot, but he's not giving himself a shot because he can't stay on the field. Maybe not his fault. Maybe it is his fault. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But clearly he's not available, which is your best availability, your best ability. You know what I'm saying? And we already
Mm-hmm.
know what Galladay is, man. And shout out to Slay and Richie James, but they not number ones. They're complementary pieces.
Yep.
So if you get a guy like DJ Moore, that could open up bigger plays for Slay and for Richie and Wandell if he gets back.
And you know
So
what it's going to do too? DJ Moore is those type of guys that can take the slants over the middle. That's what his
mhm.
best routes are over the middle
Mm-hmm.
of the field, quick routes, and you can have Slayton stretch the field on the outside. And
Right.
if you can get a DJ Moore, what he can do is control the middle of the field, and you have Wandell, who's that do-it-all type of wide receiver. And if you could put out a Darius Slayton, a Wandell Robinson, and a DJ Moore as your top three guys, that's a pretty damn good trio, and they all have different types of
Mhm.
they have different types of skill sets at the wide receiver position. And then Marcus
Right.
Johnson, if you want to play him more, he's that big body guy. So you have
Mhm.
wide receivers that would have different skill sets that would fit into place a lot better than the mismatch of guys we have right now that are more, like you said, complementary guys, if anything. But I just
Mhm.
don't know. I still think that this team might want to see what they have
Mm-hmm.
before they think about making another move. They still might want to see what Tony can do and Robinson, and who knows, maybe they still want to see what Galladay can do. I
Yeah,
don't
you,
know.
you got
I
literally
don't see.
you got 3 weeks before the trade deadline is up. So
Right.
Exactly.
if now the thing is he has to be here during that time frame. So
Right. That's the problem.
One of
The
them could be
guys
IR
can't get on the
soon.
field.
They could be IR'd because we did bring in Robert Foster, so there might be an
if you
indication that one of
if
those two
you
could be
IR
short-term IR'd.
if you IR Tony, then you're
You
gonna have
can't
to
trade
get
them.
you're gonna have to get more without him then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking
You
about
ain't gonna be able
Galladay
to trade them.
more. Galladay
Oh,
could be short-term IR.
Galladay, yeah, I think you eye on him for the season. To be honest, yeah, I think you
hmm
put him out for the season. He's clearly not healthy. He's clearly not right in the head, and he's just not a fit. And he's kind of a player that's just he's a polarizing figure right now on the Giants, and I just rather him kind of stay away to not fuck up the chemistry of this team. You know what I'm saying? So
hmm
that's kind of where I'm at with Galladay. I never been a big Galladay fan to begin with, but I mean the guy it can't stay on the field, and when he's on the field, he's not producing. So,
He's
um,
that
hmm
anchor right now on our team too in terms of salary. I mean, his
right,
salary is so ridiculous that it's really hurting this team if they really want to make any type of moves. But then we always have to keep going back and be like, well, Galladay's contract. Well, Galladay's contract. That's the biggest like detriment right now because if we could go out there if we wanted to, and if we need to make a move for a DJ Moore, we could do that and we'd have the money to
hmm
play with. But that Galladay contract is killing
hmm
us right now, absolutely
hmm
killing us for making any moves. And it's going to even go into next season a little bit as well.
mm.
Exactly.
So let's transition into the baseball real quick. Yeah, these Mets, man.
Hmm.
I was very disappointed what I seen from the New York Mets losing that series to the Padres. Look, man, we talked about this, Jeffy. I wasn't so much concerned about the pitching, even though Bassett laid an egg in that last game. But the hitting, man, they got shut out. I mean, come on, you you
Hmm.
can't get shut out in a deciding game of a playoff game. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like you said, why you was afraid of them getting having to play that wild card round. Because look what happened. And the Padres just wanted it more, man. They just looked like the more hungry team. They wasn't phased by being on the road, by the crowd, anything like that. And look, man, um, Bell, Manny Machado, those cats over there, man, they like I said, they wanted it more, and I just it's disappointing. I'm not a Mets fan, but it is disappointing, man, to see a team, man, that had world championship aspirations. They were leading the division by a shit ton, and to blow the whole lead of the division and then go out there and lay an egg in the playoffs is just It's very disappointing, man. You got to wonder about some of the futures of some of the guys on this team because you talked about it, Jeffy, DeGrom, and some of the other players on here, McNeil. I mean, some of these guys, that's on here, man. I mean, are these guys gonna be able to be brought back? Do they want to come back? Do the Mets want them back? I mean, so there's a lot of questions, man. But the Mets have got to get more production from their hitters, man, in key spots. And I think that's the biggest thing, man. With my takeaway from the Mets game series this weekend, so I'll turn it over to you, Jeffy. I know you got a lot to say, man, but yeah, I was really, really disappointed by the Mets performance.
You know what? I'll let Coach go first. He can give his points, and then I'll take the floor because I mean I'm still very frustrated after that loss on Sunday. But Coach, you can go ahead if you want to talk about the Mets, and I'll
Well,
go
it says I
after
tip
you.
my New York Mets New Era flex hat to the San Diego Padres. Yeah, got to give it up to them. They
Mhm.
played and they wanted it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead,
I
Coach.
mean, it's just disappointing for New York City. I mean, that's really what it boils down to because, yeah, it was, the way that it happened. I mean, the down the stretch, it's like they lost gas, and then you
Yeah.
put yourself in a very precarious
What's good, Breezy? I
situation.
see you, bro.
You put yourself
But
in a precarious situation, having to play in the wild card, and look at where you ended up. So I mean, it was just tough. And yeah, like as a New York tri-state New York area fan, it's difficult. So 3-1 Tampa, 3-1 Rangers now. So it's you wanted to. I know for me, I mean, I can't speak for all Yankees fans, but I know for me, I did want to have New York represented all the way, if not, all the way to the World Series. To be
facts.
brutally honest, that's what I was looking for and hoping for. So, but to not have them there, get there, it is disheartening. I understand. I feel the pain of a lot of Mets fans. So and hearing that there you may be losing a lot of key pieces for next year. So how is that going to transition? So it's tough. So go ahead, Jeff.
I apologize if I take a lot of time on this one, but I already ranted and raved about this on Sunday night. This is nothing new if you're a Mets fan. I know it's like woe be me type attitude, but I'll just give you some details in the playoffs for the Mets. 1999 against the Atlanta Braves. Kenny Rogers walks the bases loaded and walks a guy in, and we lose in 1999 in our home stadium. 2000 against your Yankees, both you guys. We
Mm.
play against you guys. What happens? We lose the Subway Series at home. 2006, we're playing against the St. Louis Cardinals. Endy Chavez makes an incredible catch and double play. All the momentum in the world. We can't capitalize. We lose at home.
Mm,
2007 and 2008, two of the worst disasters in Mets history in the end of the season. Where do we lose them? At home.
yeah.
2015 against the Kansas City Royals in the World Series. The whole Matt Harvey debacle with Terry Collins leaving him in too long, and then Matt Harvey gives it up in the top of the eighth inning, top of the ninth. Where do we lose? At home. 2016. You guys getting the pattern right now? 2016.
Mm-hmm.
We play against the San Francisco Giants in the wild card round. Syndergaard versus Bumgarner. Great pitching matchup. What happens? We lose at home. And then this year, another time, we play against the San Diego Padres, and again, we can't hit the ball, we don't pitch, and we lose at home. How much more can Met fans take with the fact that we are not just losing, but we are losing these devastating series in our own building all the time? This is like it's like a horrible uh, dream that just keeps coming up every single time at the end of the year. It's pretty much like an extended version of what the Mets have had in 2019, in 2020, in 2021. Except we just made the playoffs this time. In my opinion, this team This team was over. They died when they played against Atlanta and they got swept. To me, that's where this team was done because of the fact you had Chris Bassett, you had Max Scherzer, and you had Jacob DeGrom and the pitching staff 1-2-3 against an Atlanta team. Yeah, they're good, but the Mets had the clear advantage in the pitching department against that team, and all three of them spit the bit against the Braves. And then we got swept, and this team just looked dead after that. They were done. You had a 10-game plus lead the entire year. You know what the worst part is, guys? We were leading the division for, I think, 175 of 180 days overall
Hmm.
this year.
That's
And we
crazy.
blew it in the. It's that this is what Met fans, and I really hate talking like saying like the woe be gone type feel, but this is what Met fans have had to deal with over the years. These types of moments, and why it's so hard to trust this team because they're not giving us reasons to trust us. And you were talking about the hitting. The hitting was an absolute friggin' disaster the entire end of the season and into the playoffs. You get
Yeah.
one hit and shut out in front of your home crowd that was absolutely
Mm.
energized, absolutely pumped up. And that's the type of performance you put out there. Chris Bassett, I have to hear after the game. And Coach, you were on the stream when we were talking about it after they lost when we were on Pat's stream on Sunday night. So, like, this team is just – the team just doesn't find ways to hit in the clutch. They don't find ways to pitch in the clutch. I mean, Max Scherzer pretty much looked like he just looked old at the end of the season. He was ineffective. The games that we needed him to pitch well, he spit the bit every single time. Chris Bassett has to say in his press conference that he was spooked out, like he was essentially spooked out with what's happening in New York. That's what you want to hear from this guy, a big ticket guy you traded for, who's part of your starting rotation, and this was such an important year for the New York Mets because of the fact that you both have said it. This team has 15 free agents and key free agents.
Wow.
Four fifths of your starting rotation look like they're going to be free agents. Not just Jacob DeGrom. He's on a player option right now, but it's most likely he's going to decline it. Carlos Carrasco is a free agent. Taijuan Walker has a mutual option, but he's most likely going to have a decline. He'll be a free agent. And then Chris Bassett, he's probably going to be a free agent. Edwin Diaz, our all-star closer, is a free agent. Brandon Nimmo, our leadoff hitter, is a free agent. Trevor May, Michael Givens, Seth Lugo,
That's
Trevor
the problem.
Williams. All these guys are free agents right now, and this is the problem. It doesn't matter how much money Steve Cohen has, and Steve Cohen has got a lot of money. And the one thing I love about Steve Cohen, if this was Fred Wilpon, I'd really be saying we're screwed because he would penny pinch these guys, and probably every single one of them would be gone. But at least with Steve Cohen, I have some hope that he's a Mets fan. The one thing I love is that he's not just the owner; he's a Mets fan. So you know for a fact he's not happy after what happened this season, and he's going to go into this offseason, this Mets team, and I'm actually going to – I don't want to, promote myself or anything. I'm going to make a Mets video tomorrow about the top 5 guys that the Mets need to bring back. I really believe the 3 guys the Mets have to strongly try to bring back is Brandon Nimmo, Jacob DeGrom, and Edwin Diaz because those guys are so important to the baseball team.
I agree.
Jacob DeGrom and Brandon Nimmo because they're homegrown Mets. They've been with this team for a long time. And DeGrom is the last one left of that famous Fab Five. We all remember the Fab Five. DeGrom, Syndergaard, Matz, RV, and Wheeler.
RV.
DeGrom's the only one that's been consistently he's really been the only one that's consistently been good. So it really hurt to see DeGrom go, but this was such a deflating loss, and I apologize for rambling. It's still too early after what happened with this team because I was one of the idiots that bought into this team saying that this could be different, that this year could be the year that this Mets team finally shows us something. And the thing that hurts the most, do you guys know we're the only team in the NL East that has not won a championship in the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s? The only team. The Marlins won the championship in 1996.
Damn, the Marlins did win. I forgot about that.
The Braves won in 1995 and 2021. The Nationals won in 2019, and the Phillies won in 2008. And who's the only team that hasn't won in all those decades? The New York friggin' Mets. So it really hurts my soul to look at this team and just feel like we find ways to not get it done in so many ways. And it's just to a point like, when the hell is it going to finally be our time? When is it finally going to be the year where the Mets are going to have things break their way? They're going to get the timely hits, they're going to get the timely pitching, and they're finally going to do what's necessary to get it done when it matters. Because every single year, it feels like when we get down to the end of the season and we get to the postseason, this franchise comes up small. They don't get it done.
Mhm.
And that's been the story of the New York Mets franchise for the past like 15, 20 years. Get to the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs, sometimes get to the playoffs, even sometimes get to the World Series, but when you need them to get those timely hits and pitching, this franchise comes up small. So I don't know what to expect from this team in the offseason. I hope that they're going to make the moves to improve this team. I know Steve Cohen is pissed off right now going out the way this team did.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm just a very dejected, very angry, very frustrated New York Mets fan. So thank you for giving me this time to just like get out all the frustration, because this is the one reason why I want to come on the show tonight, because I needed to voice. I needed more time to voice out how frustrated I am with this team, because I was one of those
Take as
idiots
long as
that
you
bought
need,
it.
man. It is frustrating. It
I
is
was one of
frustrating.
those idiots that bought into the hype with this team, because I really thought this was going to be different. I really thought in my mind this team was going to be different because of the ownership change, because of the players they have on this team. And Buck Show, I like Buck Showalter so much, but it feels like the curse of the playoff Buck Showalter struck back and hit this team now. Because Buck
Mm.
Showalter is just one of those managers that he's a great manager in the regular season. He's like Dusty Baker. Great regular
Mm-hmm.
manager in the regular season. When it comes to the clutch of the postseason, he spits the bit, and his teams just can't get it done. It's not even all his fault, but his teams just don't get it done. And maybe
So
it's
let
just
me ask you this: what do you think is the biggest need for this Mets team going forward? Never mind the free agents that they got to sign for a minute, but given they bring the majority of those guys back, or at least the main ones, the big players, the
Mm-hmm.
ones you talked about. What is your take on what do you think this team needs the most? Is there a guy out there you would want to see them go get, or is there is it well, we talked about Buck Showalter. I think he's gonna I think he's a keeper, but what do you think this team needs moving forward?
well, I mean, if we're able to bring back all our free agents, I just to me it's a power hitter. This team needs another steady
Hmm.
power hitting uh, outfielder at least, because I love Brandon Nimmo, but he's more of an on base guy. He's more of a
Yeah.
contact hitter. He's a great defensive player. Starling Marte gave us some good production. Mike Canna is a solid, maybe like, decent third outfielder, maybe a fourth outfielder at best. We need protection in the lineup, in the middle of that lineup for Pete Alonso and even Francisco Lindor. Both those guys had good years, and even Jeff McNeil had a good year. Thank God they're not free agents, McNeil and Alonso, because those guys are key pieces to this team going forward too. But we
Hmm.
need ourselves some. We need some guys that will, good run guys that will drive the ball in. And the one biggest problem with this team, the DH was a killer position for this team.
Hmm.
We had one of the worst numbers at the DH position. We had JD Davis and Dom Smith, who gave us zero to no production the entire time of that DH position. And then we went out at the trade deadline. I think this is what also hurt this team, is that we got bit players, like guys like bit players that Billy Epler used to use when he was the GM, I believe, of San Francisco. Guys that are like, part-time players, Tyler Naquin, Daniel Vogelback, and Darren Ruff. These guys are not starting players, and they did not get the job done at the DH position, and that was such a major hole for this team. I think we need a power-hitting, productive DH that can drive in runs and help give protection for guys like Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, and Francisco Lindor. We need help towards the bottom of that lineup, because besides Nimmo, when Marte was healthy, McNeil, Alonso, and Lindor, the bottom of our lineup was all pretty much like 12 automatic outs. So I think that's what we need more, is a productive, power hitting DH.
I'd agree. I'd agree. Real quick with the Yankees, it's 4-1. end of the seventh. Um, so really, it is not a whole lot to talk about concerning the Yankees right now because they are playing as we speak. We'll give you continuous score updates. Right now, Garrett Cole, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 8 Ks. They put Loizaga in there.
Hmm.
And right now it's the end of the seventh, so they're going to the top of the eighth. So
Mm.
Yankees looking pretty good right now. Let's hope they can continue. Um,
And they're facing number three, four, five hitters coming up.
right. Let's hope that bullpen can hold up. That's one of my concerns with this team. Um, is the bullpen. Breezy says Mets sound a lot like the Nets with having free agents going into the off season. Yeah. Yeah, and
They
they
are.
got big time free agents too. It ain't no little guy. Edwin Diaz, man, you get and DeGrom, you gotta find ways to bring those guys back
Well,
because
Diaz is a
uh,
tricky one because with relief pitchers, they're a lot like place kickers in the NFL. They're
yeah,
they can give you a great year one year,
they
and then the next
finicky.
year they can spit
Yeah,
like that. I mean,
look at Chapman.
exactly. Obviously, we'll go like the Giants real quick. We have a great place kicker. He's been consistent, but most of the time, place kickers are very inconsistent sometimes from year to year. That's the same thing with
Mm-hmm.
relievers and especially closers. One
Yep.
year they could be spectacular, and the next year they could be garbage. I mean, a lot of Mets fans were wanting to run Edwin Diaz out of town for years because this guy hasn't been productive. And then all of a sudden this year he was able to put it together and have a great All Star year. Maybe it has a lot to do with the fact that it could be that typical playing in a contract year, want to do the best he can, like get his value up so he can score that big deal. So Diaz would probably be my third on the list of guys to bring back because I love Diaz. I think he's a great closer, but is he gonna be able to duplicate that production going into next season? I think Nimmo and DeGrom are the two guys I'd like to have back the most, but we'll see.
Right. All right, let's get into the basketball here a little bit. So I'm looking at people kind of going crazy over the Nets, man, because let me put the link in the chat for Breezy if you want to come in and comment on this.
Hmm.
Um, I think people need to just relax, man. It's preseason. You know what I'm saying? It's preseason, man. They got videos of Ben Simmons shooting air balls, man. This dude just come back for back surgery, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
bruh, back surgery, man. You can't tell me that a guy coming off back surgery that hasn't played in over a year is gonna go out there and just be busting threes and just doing this and doing that and killing it out there, man. You know what I'm saying? These guys have not played together at all. None of 'em.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta pump the brakes a little bit, man, when you're talking about um this team and oh how Ben Simmons is a wash and all this other stuff. Some of the nonsense you see with some of these um half-ass fans on Twitter. But and it's the flip side with the Knicks. Everybody think the Knicks now is the greatest thing since sliced bread, because they doing their thing in preseason, and it's weird, man. You know what I'm saying? So
Coach giving
I
that awkward look.
I
He's
really
giving that
don't.
look.
But this is what you said. This is what you saying. This is
Yeah.
the fan base, man. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely do want to say we got to pump the brakes on the Nets, man. Because it is preseason, and one thing I will say though is I do like the way some of the young players are looking. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so that's what preseason should be about, developing your
Mm-hmm.
young talent. The only reason the Nets got their guys out there a little more probably than most teams is because they need to build that chemistry. You want to have good chemistry going into the regular season. You don't want these guys to be off. So,
Mm-hmm.
let them get all the kinks worked out in this preseason, and which is basically glorified practice, and let them get the kinks worked out in the preseason, man, before we go all crazy, talking about it's the same, they ain't got it together. Ben Simmons don't fit and he can't shoot and all this other shit, but people bringing up memes because the guy shot an air ball in the park. He probably wasn't even trying to really shoot, just threw it up there, man. But it's stuff like that happens, man. You know what I'm saying? This guy's a professional. He gives you a lot of other things besides shooting. I mean, he does have to get a better jump shot at some point, or it's gonna be a deficiency for this team. But he don't got to be Steve Nash out there or a damn Steph Curry or anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I will definitely take his defense and his passing ability over him having a perfect jump shot. So we gotta pump the brakes on that, man, and fans just gotta chill and not get too
Absolutely.
crazy over this preseason mess, because they lost to the Sixers and the Heat. And who's playing? You know what I'm saying? Like they not really out there playing like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, it's glorified practice. So we'll see how it looks when the regular season comes around. But I'm not too worried about the Nets right now, man. So what's your take on that, man? Whoever want to go, Breezy, you want to chime in?
Yeah,
Welcome
I
to the
kind
show
of
too, bro.
yeah, thanks, man. Shout out to Heart of the City, shout out to the coach, shout out to Jeff, shout out to you, NYG22. Again, man, I missed the Giants part, but I'll watch it later,
Yeah, no
when the
doubt.
stream is over. But to Jeff said, I think it's hard to build morale and camaraderie between teammates when everybody knows. I mean, we talking about millionaires. If they know
Hmm.
they at the end of the season, win, lose, or draw, they're gonna get their money. Their mindset it might be a little different. You know what I mean? Everybody might not be on the same page. It could just be I'm coming to work, opposed I'm not gonna lose with my brother. I'm
Facts.
not gonna lose with my teammate because that's my brother. And after this, we going to his mama house. I know his mama, that type of thing. You know what I mean? Everybody ain't
Hmm.
invited to your mama house, that type of thing. And you can't develop that type of energy or chemistry when you only gonna be there for a year. The what Jeff said about the Mets having 4/5 of the team going into free agency, that shit is like wow. You
That's
know what I'm saying?
crazy. Yeah.
And it made
Mhm.
me it made me think of the Nets and everything since Katie and Kyrie. Every year there's been a bunch of players that left the roster and then we replaced them with talent. But how much does when you put talent and chemistry on a scale, you feel me? Like what
Mhm.
outweighs the other? To an extent, I feel like chemistry outweighs talent, especially in the latter part of the season, going into the playoffs, knowing that this guy likes to shoot there but not there, and he likes a pick and roll, but he likes a pick and slip. He want to do a pick and pop. He like
Mhm.
the corner three. You develop all of that with experience with your teammates. You can't skip that process. You cannot skip uh experience and get chemistry. You have to play with your
Mhm.
teammates. Suppose you gotta, be on the same team with these guys for a year or two for you to build that, that chemistry. And what I will say about Ben Simmons to add to NYG22 point, we don't need him to be the third leading scorer. He could be the fourth leading scorer. I was at the PTIP practice in the park with the Brooklyn Nets the other day on Sunday. It was dope. It was at Brooklyn Bridge Park, Pier 2. Nash did
Shout
get
out to
booed.
that. Shout
Yeah,
out to Brooklyn.
yeah, Nash did get booed. It was subtle boos, but it was more boos than anything. Kyrie got a big standing ovation, like big applause, loving Kyrie.
As he should.
Yeah, KD too, and
Yep.
Ben Simmons as well. Um, So pretty much I feel like being there at the practice in the park, the fans forgive whatever happened in the off season. Like it's the
Mhm.
preseason, we lost 2 games, but we so excited to see these guys on the floor together that it's like let bygones be bygones. Let's get on with the season. That's the energy
Mhm.
of the Brooklyn Nets fans. Earlier today, I had went to the BK block. That's like the Brooklyn Brigade where we super fans. So like if I get in, which I won't know to the end of the week, but if I get in, I'm my job there. Well, not a real job, but just a fan. Like we hype up the rest of the arena, the rest of the Barclays.
Mm.
So the camera pan on us, and we'll be, getting hype, extra hype, and you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to be part of that. So hopefully I could be part of that, man. Because I am a super fan, man.
That's
Um,
what's up.
this is
Mhm.
for Coach. This is for Coach Eddie because he said that
Mhm.
he knows about the Nets, and so just so you know, I met Brian Taylor. I met
Mhm.
Brian Taylor. Brian Taylor is a point guard that played alongside Dr. J when they won a
Mhm.
championship, both
Mhm.
championships in the ABA.
Mhm.
And it was cool kicking it with him. I met Albert King too. Bernard's
Mhm.
brother.
Bernard's little brother.
Yeah,
Mm.
Mhm.
we chopped it up, and actually,
Was Kenny there also?
Kenny,
Kenny
who
Anderson. Kenny Anderson.
not he might have been, but I didn't see him.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
didn't see him.
Kenny
Um,
Anderson, yeah,
I,
that
I'll talk to him on Twitter. Don't. I'll ask him.
yeah, I be seeing him on Twitter.
Mhm.
Chibs, that's his Twitter handle.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah, man, the event was dope. Family fun. I brung my son, took some pictures,
yeah. I seen
and
that on Twitter, man. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to your son, man. That's dope, man. That's what's up.
yeah, yeah, nah, thanks. And last but not least, I'll say Brian Taylor said, because I'm reading a book called The History of the Nets, T-Neck to Brooklyn, and
Mhm.
Brian Taylor was dope meeting him because he wrote the foreword in that same book. So I'm like, wow, he like gave me his number, like, yo, call me. We could, what I'm saying, I'll do the podcast with you. You know what I mean? I'll read the book. I'm gonna read the book, and he could just, he got real accounts without the book. I'm learning about the
Mhm.
history through a book, but he was
Mm.
there, like part of the
Mhm.
championship team, and he was nice. It wasn't like he was on the end of the bench. Like he started. He was the starting point guard.
Mhm. Yeah, he was definitely a cool cat, a nice player. Fundamentally sound. So yeah, I mean, he could take it to cats too. So.
Yeah, it was good meeting him. I feel like the OGs, my OGs, they walk in libraries, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's always good listening to them. It's good to talk to them, but it's always good to listen and just hear their perspective on, what it is. You know what I mean? I was definitely a sponge listening to Brian Taylor, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That's a blessing right there. True.
Mhm.
Words. So, yeah, we went through a necessary rough patch with the Brooklyn Nets losing that 0-2, rightfully so. We need more chemistry, more cohesiveness, more who gets the ball and when they get the ball. You know what I'm saying? Pick and rolls. But I'll say it here because I was gonna say it on my page, but I ain't get a chance to do it yet. I think Kyrie Irving is gonna be the number one option this year. It's his contract year. And he got something to prove. I think KD deserves to be the second option. He took the Nets and put him on his back last season and the seasons prior. He did as much as he could. And when you think about all of the superstars, which is Harden, Kyrie, and KD, he did the most work. Say what you want about KD, but when you contrast the superstars to him and Kyrie and Harden, he put in the most work for the Brooklyn Nets.
That's a fact.
Mhm.
And I want him to play number two. Be number two. Let Kyrie be number one. He gonna be the point guard anyway. Let him create the offense. Let him get doubled and kick it to you for the open jumper. Kevin Durant be scoring 2 points, but it been a hard 2 points. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like they be making Kevin Durant work for those 2 points. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we want KD to get some help. I land the plane saying again, man. I think number one is Kyrie scoring wise, two KD, and three I'm giving it to Cam Thomas. I just heard Joe Harris he coming, but Seth Curry not going to be there. Ed Sumner not going to be there. All of these players that's not going to be there. It gives opportunity to Cam Thomas to be the third leading scorer of the Brooklyn Nets. That's what I got.
That's dope, man. Real shout out to Levance, man. Holding us down as always.
Got
Um,
Levert.
yeah, definitely looking forward to the 2022-2023 college basketball season. Yeah, me too, man. And we're gonna get into college basketball as well here on Heart of the City. We got Rutgers, Syracuse, St. John's, so on and so forth. New York Rangers,
Yeah,
3,
they
Tampa
won.
Bay Lightning, 1.
Finally.
Good job, man. Shout out to the Rangers, man. That's my squad for the hockey, man. And I'm still trying to find a hockey guy, man. If anybody know a hockey guy, slide him my way. Tell him to pull up on the podcast. We could chop it up, man. And really want to get into the hockey as well, man. We trying to do all sports here at Heart of the City.
Mm.
Um, Big shout out to the live streamers, man. Shout out to you too, man. You know what I'm saying? Always holding the chat room down over here at Unpopular Opinion Sports. And big shout out to my brother, man. Reels, man. How about them Jets, man? Yeah, we talked about the Jets, man, earlier, man. Go rewind the
Real.
stream, man. Yeah, man. I gave big props to your Jets, man. I think they're doing big things over there, man. And definitely, man, you know what I'm saying? Things are looking up for the Jets, 3-2. Definitely got the arrow pointed in the right direction for the Jets, man. And Islanders, man. Yeah, Islanders too. I ain't forgot about the Islanders, man. You know what I'm saying? Right now I do believe hockey is in preseason, if I'm mistaken. So once the regular season gets rolling, man, we
Well, the
definitely
regular
going.
season started
No,
already.
It
yeah,
did
Like,
start. That's right.
yeah.
They started a little bit earlier than the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. All right, man. That's my slip, but
Mm-hmm.
that's why you guys are here. Um, Islanders, yeah, hockey's a cool sport, especially if you know the history. And I got a big thing coming up on hockey. I think you guys are gonna love it. It's dealing with well, I'll tease it here a little bit, man. It's dealing with the history, like bro said right here, man. And it is a cool sport, man, especially when you know the history, man, because a lot of history is hidden, man, and where it started, you know what I'm saying, is definitely gonna surprise a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just put it like
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Yeah, I'm interested. Let me know when you do that. I'm gonna tune in. I want to hear all about it.
yeah, definitely, man.
Is
That's
it
gonna
like
be
is it like Cool Runnings? Remember them Jamaican movie when they
something
went on a
like
bobsled team?
something like that. Yeah, yeah, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Save concept, man. But yeah, man. Shout out to bro, man. But what's your thought? We'll swing it over to coach, and then we'll come back around to you, Jeffy. What's your thought on the Nets, man? And what you think, man, about all this drama, man, that they trying to bring up BS about Ben Simmons and the squad, man,
I
and we ain't
mean,
even got the regular
everyone's
season started
always
yet.
they're always going to do stuff like that. I mean, no matter what. I mean, in one regard, okay, I can get it per se. I don't agree with it, but I get it because he didn't play last year. All the stuff that happened down in Philly, so you can understand some fans worried that
Yeah.
might transition and translate to Brooklyn. But you know what? The kid looks like he's hungry. He's ready to go. He just got
Hmm.
to work on his game and get reacclimated. Because literally, what he hasn't played in almost 2 years.
Right.
So it takes time. I mean, he has to redevelop himself, and plus you got new teammates. You got to get acclimated to where guys like the ball if you're bringing the ball up, and how's your defensive schemes played, and things of that nature, and do you go under or over a screen, and do you switch, I mean, what does the coaching staff want? I mean, being in meetings is one thing, but being out there on the court or on the field or anything, that's totally different. And there's a different way of getting acclimated to how the game is being played. So and your teammates, you got to talk to them and you got to be on the same page with them. So I mean, the hate, you know what I'm gonna say. I mean, I'm gonna brush that stuff off my shoulders and keep it moving, man. I mean,
Facts, coach.
I mean that's all you can do because
Yeah.
people gonna hate. And also think about it like this: when people hate on you, you're doing something right.
That's what I was always told.
So I mean, Ben Simmons, they're gonna hate on you. Do you, bro? Do you? I mean, even if you got to take the mentality of like, yo, I'm paid. Yeah, where you at? What's your life like? So, I mean, I know it's cold, but get back at them like that. Some people don't like to be put on blast like that. So, but
Right.
y'all
Gotta
would be
say
fine.
What's your life like? Mine's is real. Everything's signed and sealed. Shout out to
Exactly,
shout
man.
out to Siegel, man, on that one, on that bar, man.
What's up, man?
Go ahead, Jeffy. Get in there though.
Well, first off, I want to give a shout out to Breezy for being able to experience what he was able to experience, not only at the practice at the park down in Brooklyn on Tier 2, but also being able to go down there and meet some Nets legends. So shout out to you, bro, and it's awesome experience that your son was able to be there and experience it himself. This
Yeah.
is something he's going to be able to talk about when he gets older. So that's an awesome thing, and I want to give a shout out to you and all the great work that you do with the Nets, man. You just keep doing what you're doing because you're going to grow and you're going to grow real fast, and hopefully you're going to be able to get some of those Nets legends on your podcast. It's only going to help you go. It's only going to help you grow. So keep doing what you're doing, bro. Love what you do. Had to give that shout out there to another great Nets podcaster out there, to our guy, big fan Breezy.
Appreciate you, Jeff.
Anytime, bro. I think it's so stupid and ridiculous that there's even this narrative out there about the media trying to stir stuff up with the Nets because of all the drama that happened in the offseason, because of all the stuff that's happening now, because Ben Simmons can't shoot, Ben Simmons can't do this, the team looks horrible, they're 0-2. Do people not realize that this is a team that is still trying to learn how to play together as a unit? Like, is this like a foreign concept right now to the fans and to the media out there? People have to realize you have a lot of pieces that the Nets are bringing into this team
What's
right
good,
now.
Mac? Shout out to Mac, the Giants fan.
What up, Mac?
Just wanted to shout him out real quick. And top of the ninth, Yanks up 4-1. Appreciate the update, bro. Go ahead, Jeff.
But it's just so ridiculous that people are actually trying to go out there and say that this Nets team, that they suck, Ben Simmons can't shoot, the chemistry looks bad, looks like come on, stop it, okay? There's a lot of new pieces on this team that have to get adjusted and learn how to play with one another. Ben Simmons is coming off the fact that he just had back surgery. He hasn't played in over a year and a half, close to 2 years. This guy's got to learn how to shoot. He's got to learn to get his footing back in the game. He's just learning how, he's trying to get himself back into basketball shape. And you have these guys coming back from injuries too. Guys like you have Joe Harris still coming back. He's dealing with still a little bit of soreness in that surgically repaired ankle. You got Seth Curry that might be missing the beginning of the season. Like Breezy said, Sumner's still banged up. He might not play. T.J. Warren is going to miss the beginning of the season. You got a lot of guys that right now are coming back from injury. You have some new pieces that they brought in. And you have some guys that are trying to learn how to play with one another and get their chemistry down pat. That's why you got to let this team grow. You need to let this team go out there, and you need to let them mesh together. Like exactly what Reels just said. You got to let this team mesh together because it's not going to be where all of a sudden you snap their finger and they're going to learn where everybody is on the basketball court, what this guy likes to do, what that guy likes to do. It takes time to build up that chemistry. And who knows, it might take like the first 15, 20, 25 games until this team knows how to play as a team. And that's one of the things that hurt this Nets team last year is they did not know how to play like a basketball team. They were too busy trying to play one-on-one individual basketball because they never gelled as a team because of all the injuries, because of the new players they had to come in, with everything that happened last year. That's why you need to let this team just come together as a team and learn how to play with one another. I do agree. I do think Kyrie Irving is going to be the number one option on this offense, and Kevin Durant is going to be a very, very strong number two option. I'm really curious to see who's going to be the number three option. And I put this out there too. They're still deciding on who could possibly be the starting shooting guard on this team between, I think, Joe Harris and even possibly Royce O'Neal. I would actually start Royce O'Neal because I think he is going to be a better option because of the fact he can do what Joe Harris does, maybe not as good, but he's a good three-point shooter. And what's one of the things that the Nets lacked last year? We talked about this a couple of times in the previous podcast. Wing defense.
Wing defense.
And what does Royce O'Neal do? Wing defense. I think he'd be a good addition for the starting lineup to throw him out there and be a guy that can maybe not be as consistent a three-point shooter as Joe Harris, but he can hit that damn three-point shot. And also, he's going to lock down either the best defender on the other team. He's going to give Kevin Durant a break, where Kevin Durant doesn't have to guard the best player on the field. You could put Royce O'Neal on the best defender on that team instead of Joe Harris, who's not very strong a defender, and it's only going to help out your overall team in terms of your first unit. Then you could throw Seth Curry and Joe Harris, two 3-point experienced shooters over there in the second unit, and it also gives Joe Harris some more time to get back to 100% coming back from that ankle surgery. And same thing with Seth Curry. So I don't understand the negativity. I don't understand everybody panicking. It's just because of all the drama that happened with this Nets team in the offseason. And you just have to allow this team time to build the chemistry up. Obviously, the talent alone should be able to win some of these games early. I think the Nets do need to get off to a pretty fast start at the beginning of the season, or we know that the noise is going to get louder and louder and louder with this team because of how high expectations this franchise has going into the season with the talent they have on the roster. But it's too early. It's way too early, and people got to realize preseason is all about evaluating your young players. It's all about building chemistry as a team. It's all about seeing what you have on the roster, and they're also trying to find out what guys are going to be part of this rotation going into the season, including the young guys. Like Breezy said, like we said, David Duke Jr., Day'Ron Sharp, Alondas Williams, as well as Kessler
Cam
Edwards, and
Thomas.
obviously Cam Thomas. Like, you want to find out what these guys are and how much minutes they can contribute into this team. I think Sharp and Thomas will be factors on this team because, well, Sharp has to. We don't have a backup center because Morris is more of a power forward, and then Wannabe is more of like a small forward, power forward player. We are lacking a little bit of size, though, so Nets are putting a lot of faith in two young players at that center position. So we'll have to see
Yeah.
if maybe they think about maybe making a veteran addition at that center position as the season goes on. But at the same time, just let this team come together as a team, and please pump the brakes a little bit, media and Nets fan or anybody out there. Just please stop. Just let the team do what they need to do to build chemistry as a team and get off Ben Simmons back. Okay, let the guy just come back from a serious back injury. The fact he hasn't played in a while, the shot will come eventually. And like Breezy said, he doesn't have to be a third scorer on this team. He can be a fourth. He could possibly even be a fifth scorer on the team because there's other guys on this team that can score the ball. Cam Thomas, Joe Harris, Seth Curry, Patty Mills can put the ball in the bucket. So he doesn't have to worry about scoring as much. He doesn't need to learn how to shoot better, but that'll come over time. So that's all I got to say on that.
Nah, good stuff, man. Good
Thank
stuff,
you.
man. And one thing I will say though about the Nets, before we talk about the Knicks here a little bit, I think people are sleeping a little bit on Nick Claxton.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. They
I think
are.
think Nick Claxton is going to do just fine at the center spot. You know what I'm saying? So all this talk about the Nets lacking size in the front court, I think is a little overblown. I think this guy, you know, is stout on the defensive end. You know what I'm saying? And he's picked up his offensive game a little bit. Just from the little bit I've seen in preseason. So um, I think Nick Claxton is going to be just fine there at center.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hear a lot of talking points about the Knicks, how they lack size and
Yeah,
different
I heard
things
that
like
too.
that. But look, man, the NBA nowadays, I mean, yeah, you need big men, but you also need guards and shooting. I mean, you got to have a balanced team. I think this team is balanced. You can go big if you want to, by putting in a guy like Markieff Morris or even um Sharp or somebody like that, like you had mentioned before, and taking Simmons off the floor, putting Simmons at point.
Yep.
So you could do different things with this lineup, man. And they ain't gonna get a cookies away in the preseason. So y'all chill out with the preseason mess, man. You know what I'm saying? So I do think this team, this is the perfect um statement right here that Reels put up. Most teams take a year or a year and a half to mesh together, but the Nets roster has been shook up each year, allowing no time to form a real team nor connection.
He's
And
absolutely right. He's absolutely 100% right.
that's the main point. These guys need chemistry on the court. Why you think it was
Mhm.
so easy for Golden State to go get right back in the championship mode once Curry and Clay got healthy? Because they already
Mhm.
had that chemistry. You know what
Boston
I'm saying?
too.
Boston too. They already had that chemistry. They've been playing together for years. So
Milwaukee. You look at those
exactly.
teams.
So
Hmm
it's easy to say, hey, look, this team got talent. They automatically should win the chip. Mm-mm. No, it always takes chemistry. You know what I'm saying? With any sports team in any league, we talk about that with the football, with the Giants. You know,
hmm
we've talked about that with the Yankees. You know, and the
hmm
Mets. You know,
hmm
it takes you need chemistry. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna give you the perfect example. Let me give you a personal example. Since my brother's up here, we played basketball in the city in Brooklyn. Um, when we played with each other for so many years. e- Like he knew where I was going to be. I knew where he was going to be. We didn't have to think about it. I knew when he was going to cut in order to get him the ball. He knew when I was going to come around the screen or just pull up and spot up for three. We had that chemistry. Whereas when you started playing with other players, you think he going one way, he go the other way, and you throw the ball out of bounds.
Quick score
You,
update: the Yankees have defeated the
Yankees,
Guardians
the
4-1.
Yankees won. Yeah,
So the
Yankees
Yankees
take
have
it.
Yankees 1-0.
You know what I'm saying? And that's real. Smoothest backcourt ever. He played point. I played shooting guard. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? So I know basketball, man. Look, it does take chemistry. You know what I'm saying? You got to know where players are going to be on the court. You know what I'm saying? When your man is cutting. You know what I'm saying? Those alley oop plays. That takes chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Because if you time it wrong, guess what? That's a turnover. So it's you have to understand that, man. Just as a person that played the game, I can speak to
hmm
this because I played the game.
I
You
played the
know,
game too, so I know all about it. You need to have that
right
chemistry.
when coach talks football, I listen to coach because he played the game. You
hmm
know what I'm saying? So listen to me when I'm talking basketball because I played the game. You know what I'm saying? In the heart of the city. You know what I'm saying? Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Manhattan, Rutgers Park, all that. So look, man, it does take chemistry, man. And this team is going to be able to develop chemistry as they get their feet underneath them, as long as they can, stay healthy. You know what I'm saying? That's the main thing, especially with guys like KD and Kyrie who have been off injured the past, and Ben Simmons. You know what I'm saying? As long as these guys stay healthy, I don't see any problem with the chemistry coming. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I agree 100%. The chemistry will come. Just fans have to be patient. Media, don't, who cares what they have to say? Like we said about the Giants, who gives a damn what the media says about the Nets? And there's a reason why we did so bad against Boston last year because that team knows how to play like a team. And the
They got
Nets, they played
chemistry.
like, and we played like individuals in that series. Sure,
Mm-hmm.
it was coaching too, but the Nets were too busy trying to play individual basketball while that Boston Celtics team, Marcus Smart, Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, those guys all played with one another on that team for years. They built up that chemistry. So that's the reason why
Facts.
they knew where one another was on the court. Well, the Nets, they were all over the place last year because of the fact that they never had the chance to build up that chemistry and it was way too late towards the end of
Yo,
the season.
yo, Jeff. Yo, to add to what you said, I'll say what I learned was the teams in the NBA, the good teams, what they do now is they swing the ball to the 3-point line and make the defense run out to the 3-point line. And if you don't contest that 3-point shot, they're either going to knock it down, and if you run at them, they could break down the defense depending on who it is. You know what I mean?
Yep,
That's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
that's why you gotta watch film, and that's why they was like, "Yo, why they don't run Grant Williams off the line? He a tank. So even if he do go to the basket, you could probably draw a charge or something like that." But case
hmm
in point is you watch film to know your opponent. You know what I mean? And
hmm
Mm-hmm.
the good teams make the extra pass for the open shot. And if you like kind of like look at guy taking a shot and wait under the rim, you're probably gonna have to take the ball out of bounds. This is the playoffs. They not missing open 3-pointers. We got beat like that in that
Oh, it
series
happened
a few
all the
times.
time.
You
All the
seen it, right?
time. All the time. The Nets were
Yeah.
running after the guys on
Yeah.
the outside 3-point line. They were wide open taking those 3-point shots. It felt like
Wide
it was
open.
a big play every single play because you had Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, whoever it was, driving to the basket. You had a guy wide open behind the 3-point line, drilling those big threes because the Nets were too busy chasing after them the whole time. And that's
And
chemistry.
that's where Ben Simmons comes into to play. That's why I
Yep.
called him the X factor,
Nah, that's a fact.
because
That's a fact.
he can guard wing players. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And that defense is going to be critical. You know what I'm saying? Because you got Claxton down low. So if you can chase those guys off the 3-point line and get them to come inside where your big man is waiting there to swat that shit out the paint, you know what I'm saying? That's how you become a complete team
I think
with
Royce
team
O'Neal is going to be a
defense.
critical guy too. I think
With
Royce
team
O'Neal is
Royce
going to be
O'Neal
a
too.
big,
Yeah.
big. I think that
Yeah.
Nets fans don't know, but Royce O'Neal is going to be a critical part of this team because of the fact he's that type of three and D wing that the Nets have lacked for so long. That's why I
Mhm.
think he's one of the most important players on this team because of that skill set that
Right.
he brings to this roster that we have not had in a while.
Real says if the chemistry comes, it'll take stress off the bodies, which will help slow injuries. Yeah,
That's true.
you
That's
know,
true.
because a lot of players overcompensate. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because they're trying to do too much out there on the court. So yeah, man, that's a true statement. All facts, man. Let's transition to the Knicks here real quick. You still there with us, Coach?
Yeah, I'm here. Been listening the
Yeah.
whole
So
time.
I wanna get your take kind of on the Knicks. Just touch on the Knicks real quick and what you've seen from them so far in the preseason. You know, I hear a lot of hype with the
Unfortunately,
Knicks
I
and a
haven't
lot of the
seen it.
young players, but you know, I'd pump the brakes a little bit on that, man. What you think
Well,
about it though, Coach?
one, I haven't seen them in preseason because where I'm at, I can't get them. So
Mm.
because of the fight between Comcast and MSG, so it is what it is.
Uh,
But the things that I've been following, I mean, am I going crazy? No. Am I like a lot of these other fans? Hell no. I'm not going to be like that. Takes time, but I did like the fact that in the last game, Obi led the team in scoring. You know, which was good. And you're seeing more of Obi and quickly, in the lineup and, continuing their chemistry. Brunson is, he's working his way in. He's new, but he is leading the floor, and putting guys in the right position. And RJ, he's working his game and, he's trying to take his game to another level. I can see it. Mitchell Sharp is just, he's manning that middle. He's, getting the lobs, but defensively, he's intimidating and changing shot directions. Same thing with Sims. When Jericho comes in, he has that good leaping ability.
mm,
So teams have to adjust to that. I think our center's position is going to be well versed. Because even Hart, I can't say his name. Hartenstein, he's a good stretch five. He does have a good 3-pointer. So, it changes the dynamics. And, when the second unit, they did have him, um, it looks like they had him on with Jericho, playing a 4 or 5 combination. So, that was good. But I mean, they're taking their time with Quentin Grimes. He's been hurt, had a foot injury, so he just started practicing again, and he's not going to play tomorrow. So, they're taking it slow, but we have the depth to do that. So, I
mm.
mean, there, like I said, you have RJ, you have Fournier, you have what's his name? Let me pull up the roster.
McBride.
No, not McBride. What's one called we got from Atlanta? Cam Reddish. So,
Reddish.
as a wing player, you got him. So, McBride, defensively, I don't ever have any worries about that. He's a beast as an on-ball pressure. Does he still have to develop his game a little bit? Yes, he does. to be at the big be on the NBA level. Yeah, when he goes down to the G League, he dominates. He's averaging 25 to 30 points a game. So it's like that needs to translate up here, but he's also stuck behind quickly because quickly is doing his thing. You have Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is they're mixing him in slowly. Um, CP, the franchise, was just at the open practice, and I was watching that and the things that they were doing. I mean, they I mean, when I say they were 3 units, I was just so impressed with, and even the third unit, they were, Grimes is on. I mean, not Grimes. Um, but McBride was on that unit leading the way, and he was, they were holding their own. It didn't matter if they were going against the first or the second units; they were holding their own, and it was just, very impressed to you know, see that depth, and there were still guys who didn't get on the floor. So, Ferron Hutt was doing his thing. He's another wing player who can handle himself. So, Ryan Rick, I can't say. He's from Villanova. He plays a combo guard, so he's pretty decent. But again, it boils down to Tibbs. That's what it really boils down to. He has the depth on the roster. He needs to use them. He needs to use all these guys and not wear the main players down like he always does. I think if he does that, the Knicks are going to really surprise a lot of teams. They really are. Even some of the top teams in the East. Because I think they're going to gain that confidence, and they're going to really develop. And for everything that Randall has been through, the one thing I say is he's very positive, and he wants to be here in New York City. And I think, I really think he's going to step his game back up. And if he does that, it just changes the whole dynamic for this whole team, and everyone follows suit with him. And if that's the case, you know, everyone in the East, you can't just overlook the Knicks. You just can't. Because
I
next
agree.
thing you know, you're going to be on the short end of the stick, and they're going to be over you. And who knows? Could they be in the fourth spot again? Yes. So, but could I see them fighting to get to go to get and for in the play in? Yeah, I can. But like I said, the one thing I did like when I watched the open court practice, I did like the chemistry. I did like what I saw, in terms of everyone working. Didn't matter if free throws. I mean, did they put on a little show? Yeah. Little interviews. Yeah. Obi out there doing his dunking. Yeah. But and that's the other thing, Obi, when he's out there is a different energy for this team,
Mm,
because it's just like everyone wants to see what he's going to do, especially when he's, taking it to the hole, or, he's on the wing and, setting up for a nice alley oop. You literally see everybody. That's what I was seeing in the open practice. Everyone starts standing up. So I'm like, okay, everyone's expecting this kid to really shine. And, you know, um, if things go right, I'm telling you, with the center and even the four spot, it's going to be something that everyone's going to have to contend with, and it's not going to be, oh, well, when Randall goes out, they don't have anybody, because Obi is playing with confidence, and he's shooting the three, and he's taking it to the hole, and he's dunking on any and everybody who gets in the way. Doesn't matter. He dunked on Mitchell Robinson during that practice. So it's like, okay, okay, I'm seeing
mm.
it. I'm seeing it. So,
Yeah, he's
it,
exciting, man.
yeah.
Obi Toppin is exciting, man. And
Yeah, I like Obi
but
Toppin.
how are they gonna mesh, Coach? I'm curious with Toppin and Randall. I mean, we know they play pretty much the same position. How do you think that works? With those two players in particular, because I know a lot of Knicks fans, they, it's kind of split.
Mhm,
Some want
mhm,
Randall back, some want to see him
mhm.
on the team, some want to see him, traded or whatever. How do you think that dynamic works?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Initially, at the end of last year through the summer, I was one who wanted Randall traded. But like I said, from what I'm seeing, he looks like his mentality is getting back to the previous year. So I
Mm,
don't know if it was just something family, and that's what I'm hoping, or personal.
hmm
But how do they mesh? I actually think they mesh well. They really like each other, and it's yeah. Julius is a different player than Obi per se, because his handle is a lot better than Obi's, but they just bring a different diamond. Like I said, um, Obi is playing defense. I mean, they showed the highlight of the preseason game, the last preseason game. Guy was open on the 3-point line, and I mean, he closed. When I say he closed, and he still had probably about a good maybe 5 feet on the shooter, and still blocked the shot and took off down court, and the ball was thrown to him, and he went right between the legs and dunked it, and it just made everyone just went crazy off of it. So he's playing defense. He's hustling. They're going to play well off of each other. Obi knows he's bringing that energy. Everyone relies on that, and the bench gets into it, and it's just going to give Julius make him feel comfortable because he doesn't have to do everything. He doesn't even have to bring the ball up anymore that much anymore because you have other guys to do that. So and it will allow him to play freer, more comfortably, and more confidently. So him and Obi, I think, will play well together. Dare I say that Tibbs on occasion is going to throw both of them out there. And how do you defend that? Excuse me, how do you defend that? Because if Julius is if he's at the high post, and Obi just giving him the look, and he's cutting into lane, and Julius throws it up, and bang, there's that dunk. Everyone's going crazy, and then next thing you know, Obi is cutting, so they're reading that, and what does Julius do? He's going to raise up to put the ball in the hole, or he takes it into the hole. So
hmm
it's those two, I think, have learned each other through the time, how to play off of each other when one is on the court, and the other one isn't, and to give each other rest. Again, all of that still goes down to Tibbs. How does he manage his minutes? Because that's
hmm
really what it boils down to. Is he going to give Julius, you know, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and give Obi 12, 10, 12, 15 minutes? Then no, that's the
exactly.
problem. But if you're giving Obi 22, 25 minutes, and Julius is just around 30, then I think that's good balance. I think that'll
Mm.
be good balance, and it'll work out perfectly. And Julius will be rested, and you know that's that's the thing that I'm going to be looking for more than anything with the Knicks. How does Tibbs use this minutes? Because I'm looking and I'm like, I see players. I really see players. Do they got to get Cam Reddish, get him out of his head? Because I think that's what it is. Yes, because there's talent there. There's definite talent there, and the kid is long, 6'8", and his arms are long, and he can play defense. He can shoot. It's just I don't think he's confident. Like I said, at the center spot, Jericho Sims just he has that type of California laid back approach, a laid back appeal. But then when he's out there, he plays his ass off, and he'll do the dirty work. He doesn't care. He just wants to play and help the team. And like I said, um, quickly is just his confidence is out the roof now. I mean,
Yeah.
he's getting back to, look, he's gonna go blow for blow with Steph Curry in terms of shooting those threes. So it's like, I don't always want to see that, but he's also handling the ball better, facilitating a lot better. Even if Derrick Rose is out there, he'll hold the rock, he'll play off of Derrick Rose. So, they are going to play well. And, like I said, when I was watching that practice, I was just like, wow, I'm liking what I'm seeing in terms of how the two main units are, and then even the third units, you can pick guys in that if someone does go down, I'm not worried. I'm not overly worried that they're going to lose much. It's I'm not
Mhm.
saying that they're going to be elite players, but I think they're going to be perfectly fine. And you know, I think they're going to be battling for about an 8-4 spot. Honestly, that's me. If everything goes right and they play well, 8-4, maybe surprising some teams at the top end and maybe pushing 4-3.
Coach, I have a
Facts. I
question.
agree. I agree,
Hmm.
Coach. Go ahead, Jeff.
Who do you think is the Knicks? Who do you think is going to have the? Who I'm trying to like. Who is the offense going to run through in terms of the Knicks? Like, is it going to be R.J. Barrett? Is it going to be Brunson, or is it going to be Randall? On like most
Brunson
Gotta
is
nights.
going
be
to be
Barrett.
Brunson is going to be the facilitator. Um, right now, I do think it's going to go, and I think it's going to be um, not Brunson.
Barrett,
No, it's not going to be Barrett. It's going to be
Randall.
Randall.
Okay.
I think it's still going to be Randall because he still gives you that low post, as well as the 3-point shooting, as well as some decent
Really?
handle.
You think it's gonna run through? Yeah, this is. I think it's a little unpopular opinion here, Coach.
Mhm.
You
I
think
actually
the
think
offense
I
is?
think he's got a point. I actually
You
am
think it's gonna run
agreeing with
through
him.
Randall and
I think
not
it's going to run
Barrett?
through Randall. Yeah.
It's going to run through
Hmm.
Randall first. Barrett
Okay.
is still going to be the second option. It's
Okay.
not going to be Barrett first. Do I think it should be Barrett first? Yes, but I
Hmm.
Tibbs just has that affinity for
Yeah, that's the thing
Randall.
that I'm missing is the coach. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's
he's
it's going through
because
him.
I'd run it through Barrett for sure.
I would, but I don't think Randall is overly receptive to that. It's he feels that he's the
And
elite.
he's not a team player then.
No, it's not. It's not that he's not a team player. He has that Kobe mentality.
Hmm.
Don't forget his mentor is Kobe Bryant, and he does everything that Kobe did in
Man, he
terms of
ain't got that
working out
skill
and
level that
everything.
Kobe got though.
No,
So
I'm not
I
saying
think with the
you
Knicks,
can't get away with that kind of attitude if you ain't on
no,
that
but
level.
yeah, and I
but
think with
if
the
you
Knicks
don't,
too. I
hmm
think the X factor with the Nets is obviously Ben Simmons. I honestly think the X factor for the Knicks is Mitchell Robinson because
hmm
I really think if
Good
that
point.
guy can stay healthy, he brings a dynamic on your team that can change
hmm
what the Knicks can do because of
hmm
how good a defensive player Mitchell Robinson is. It is
exactly.
essential that this Knicks team. Maybe the thing is because I actually was intrigued by what you said, Coach.
hmm
Maybe if you play a combination of Toppin and Randall a little bit more times, I think
hmm
Robinson, because of the amount of times he gets hurt, maybe you have to play him a little bit less minutes to help keep his body more fresh so
Oh,
he doesn't pick up those nagging injuries at times. And maybe it's going to help him out if you have like a 3 or 4 man rotation in that front court.
well, don't forget Hartenstein is a five, and he's a stretch five. He's a legitimate 7-footer. He can
Yes.
block shots. He can block shots. So it's not like he can't get down there and do the dirty work. The thing he has over Mitchell, I mean, Mitchell has athleticism over him, but he has the shooting. So he's going to pull centers out. Where on the second unit, that's what I also think helps Obi, because he pulls like I was watching him during the practice. He was sitting in the corner. So it's like anyone who was guarding him, that opens up the lane where Obi, what is he? I mean, what does Obi can do? He can take you off the dribble and then take it right into the lane, so he's not worrying. But if say they crash, guess what he does? He kicks it out to him to an open three. He can hit quickly. Who's in a different spot? Who can only hit the open three? Even D Rose can hit the open three.
And
So it
Fournier, too.
yeah, so it just does so much more. So when I said Toppin and Randall, it's just to give a look and to give some minutes, yeah, to give a little blow for Mitchell. But I don't think it's more of you do that consistently, but it's also to give the opposition a different look. How do you defend that? What do you do? I mean, if you got a five, are you going to match up? Are you going to go small? Especially if you have bigs out there, like you guys will probably match up because, you have athletic, low post players who can then match up. So, that's a different story. But, a lot of other teams who have, true bigs down there, how do you match up with Obi and Julius out on the floor at the same time? And that's again, like I
Hmm.
said,
Interesting.
that's just a just to give you a look, because now in the team's film sessions you still have to talk about that. So that's
Yes.
one additional thing, that you have to prepare for. Which, if you're out there, does the coach match up right off the bat if he sees them going out? Hold up, such, get in there, So, and then how do they? And Julius can still go down on the box. He can still play down on the box with his back to the basket and still do
He can.
do. He can do certain things. So, if you got a smaller player on you, you can still go down low. You don't have to always stay up high, or vice versa. I mean, Obi can do that. He can go down on the box with his back to the basket, because when he was coming out of Dayton, that's one of the things he was good at. So yes, it gives a different matchup, and how do you as the opposition defend that? So, um, I like I said, I'm looking at everything, the depth on the roster, and I was just like, wow, there's a lot of players. It's a matter of managing the minutes efficiently and effectively. And I think the guys are going to buy in? Yeah, I do. I think they're buying in, and I think they're going to play confidently. And Julius is the captain. He's a leader. I mean, RJ is, he's a Nick because he was drafted by the Knicks, but Julius just there is talent there that, what, if you harness it right, there's no reason why he can't be a top 15, a top 10 player in the league. I mean, honestly, I really believe that if he's playing and his head is on right. If he's sulking and
That's the thing. Yeah.
f the fans and all that stuff, then yeah, he's going to spiral out of bounds. But I don't think he's there. I think he's at a better place in his life. So
Do you think
that's what
this
I'm.
is going to be the year or two that RJ Barrett takes that next step as a player?
Yes.
Because that
Yeah.
might be it. That's
Yeah.
maybe what the Knicks brass is waiting for, is
Hmm.
that they're waiting for RJ Barrett to assert himself as one of the better players in the NBA, because there's a reason why they re-signed him to that large
Hmm.
contract, because they
Hmm.
believe in his
Yeah.
talent and he believe that he can be the
Hmm.
leading guy. And I wonder too if the Knicks are gonna want, in terms of Jalen Brunson, if they're gonna want Brunson to be more of a facilitator of the ball with occasionally scoring too, or if they're gonna expect him to go out there and be able to put up some points too, along with Barrett and along with Randall as be like the primary scorers. But Toppin, that guy intrigues me because I've always thought Toppin was a very talented player. He just
Hmm.
never really had as many opportunities, and he's a guy that needed to develop a little bit. Now that
Hmm.
he's starting to develop his game overall, I think Toppin could be one of those players who I've always liked quickly. I like McBride because you said he's a great defensive
Hmm.
player. I like Grimes. I think Jericho Sims was a good signing for you.
Hmm.
I think Havenstein, the stretch five,
Hardenstein, yeah. Hmm.
he's a good player as well. I do agree the Knicks, they have talent on that roster. And I think
Hmm.
one of the best things they did is they did not fold to get Donovan Mitchell, like you
He's.
have been saying, Coach. That was the
I
Hmm.
best move
agree.
the Knicks did. They kept on to that young talent. And
Yep.
all they're going to
Hmm.
do is they're going to continue to build more as the years go on because of the amount of first round picks they have. The Knicks actually have a nice bright future. They have a bright future if they can keep
Hmm.
this core together. And Tibbs, let's see if Tibbs can be able to coach these young guys and get them together, and maybe this Knicks team could go out this year and surprise some people in a very loaded
Hmm.
Eastern Conference.
Exactly. The one thing too about Brunson, because you just said being a facilitator, he is going to be that facilitator. That's one of the things they brought him here. Yeah, he'll sit out at times. He can still play off of others. If he's playing
Mm-hmm.
off of RJ like he did in Dallas with what's his name,
Doncic.
Oh,
yeah,
Luka
Doncic,
Doncic, yeah.
Luca, yeah. So he can play off of that. So he's shown he can do that. But the one thing that he does very well is attack the lane, and he
Yeah.
collapses defenses. The Knicks, we haven't had someone like that consistently. Yeah, we thought D Rose was going to be that, but he's older, so he doesn't have
Hmm.
that. Brunson brings that to the Knicks. So he can finish at the rim. So, and that's the other thing RJ has been working on, is that finishing at the rim. He's gotten stronger. His shoulders are a lot broader. He has this chippy attitude. Like he's saying, y'all been sleeping on me. Out of his draft, everyone talks about Zion and Ja, but what about me? And they talk
Mm-hmm.
about guys after him, but it's what about him? And yeah, and he said it. He said it in it. He doesn't care what people think. He doesn't care what they say. He's just gonna go out there and play his game and do his thing, and he's confident in his game. and he feels he can take anyone. It doesn't matter who it is. Look, you can put Ben Simmons on him. He feels he can take him. So and that's a beautiful confidence to have. And it's helping to take his game up. So you know, you guys ask me, do I think who would I think is going through? Yeah, I think it's Julius, but eventually it's going to transition to RJ. So
Mm.
you know now will it be maybe middle to the end of the season? It's a possibility, but next year, yeah, that's where I think it transitions completely, and then that's why like I said, I just love what I'm seeing with all the guys, Quentin Grimes, the bench, like I said, the bench. I didn't even talk about the second round Trevor Keels, the kid from Duke. The kid
Mm.
can play.
Mm.
He can play. I mean, in any, we all know if you come from Duke playing under Coach K, you are fundamentally sound.
Facts.
You are. So it's and he can play now. Yeah, is he going to play a little bit down in the G League? Yes. I mean, the kid is only 19, so he still has some time to develop. But
Mm.
he has a grown man's body at 19. So you know he can shoot the rock. And they say he's a forward. Even though he's 6'4", so, I mean, I'm not going to put this on him completely, but there's some Barkley-ish traits to him because of the limited height, and he can
Mm.
still go down low a little bit and bang. But his game still needs to be developed a lot. But I do like him, and like I said, McBride, I love that kid. I love him to death, man. Because he plays that on-ball defense. He has, for a
Mm.
guy who's 6'1", he has. It looks like he has arms like he's a 7-footer. I mean, it's like I look at his arms and I'm like, damn, it looks like he can damn near scratch his shins. Just standing
Yeah,
straight up. It's like, but then that's good hands. He's quick. It's just wow. It's
I
just
like
like I said,
McBride a lot too. I think he's
you
gonna be
know
a pretty good player for you guys.
exactly. So it's just
Hmm.
to me, it's like the way they've constructed Leon Rhodes has to me, he's acquired good talent. And like you said, the draft picks and everything for the future, the Knicks win with the draft picks they have. I do think they're gonna, get top level players who are eventually gonna want to come here. But right now, with the team you have, and Derrick Rose, he's the veteran. He's his voice has been needed because he can settle everyone down. And he said it. He said it
He's
in
your
an interview.
Marquise Morris, pretty much. He's the
Yeah.
Marquise Morris
Exactly.
of your team.
And he said it. He said, look, when he's injured, he doesn't feel like he can really say anything because he's not out there with the guys. But now his voice carries. And that I agree. I fully agree with that. His voice carries. They all listen to him and they shut up and listen to whatever he says because they know.
Mhm.
So, again, with this Knicks team, I'm excited to follow the journey. And, even though I'm not going to see all the games unless I cave in and get Fubu, but
I might have to do the same thing. I might have to cave in and get Fubo as well because I can't get the Yes Network because they blocked off Sling and Yes Network are apparently having a debate too. So I might have to get Fubo as well because I can't get the Nets games, or otherwise I'd be actually doing it on YouTube, doing the live play-by-play. So
see,
it's so stupid with the ongoing
yes.
issues going back and
Yeah.
forth. We talked about this before. You're only taking away money from yourself by not broadcasting to the audience out there these types of
Mm-hmm.
programs, especially what do most people like watching on television besides like movies, if you have Netflix and stuff, sports. And what do you
Mm-hmm.
think you're taking?
Hmm.
I can't get SNY for the Mets. I can't get the Nets. I've already complained. I've already talked to SM. I'm in a Sling about this multiple times. It's so ridiculous. Why you're hurting your own company by not just getting over the petty little issues with the money situation. Just come to an agreement, and you're going to make a lot more money. That goes the same thing with you with MSG and Comcast. Get over the
Mm-hmm.
little differences. Get a handshake going, and just get a deal so that people like you can watch the Knicks, and for me, same thing. Get a Sling deal done
They
with
too
Yes
greedy for
Network. So
that, man.
It's not.
it's
It's you know
ridiculous.
what. It's also because you also, to be honest with you, you have a market of people who don't, because somebody has to pay for that. And outside of sports fans, most people do not want their rate to increase, and that's what it boils down to, because Comcast says if they, with the money that MSG is wanting to charge because of what they have to increase the rates, and that goes to everyone. And most fans are not going to want that. I mean, not fans. Most patrons are not going to want that, because if you look at the amount of people that watch the sports, it's only going to impact like maybe a 4 or 5% of their customers. So, and I get it, having worked at Verizon in the past, I do get that. But I'm like you, yeah, there's something you need to work out. Hell, just make MS3G as a standalone that I pay for. You're
Yeah.
then going to get your money. So
Hmm.
to me, that's where it's like, yo, this is stupid. Just do that, just like you. Yes, set up Yes as a separate entity so you can pay for it, and then there you go. It just, it just frustrates me, and it just frustrates me to no end. And then when I hear people who, they're on the Fire Stick or the Roku, they're like, yo, if you do this, da 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 da, if you do this, then it goes into, well, I don't know how to do it because I got a Fire Stick, but when I do that and I jailbreak it, where the hell is it at? You got 10,000 different channels or whatever to go into to try and find it. And I'm like, I'm not doing all that damn thing. I don't have the patience for it. So it's just like, forget it. That now it's like, do I pay the $70 or whatever it is to get this damn just to watch the Knicks? And that's what it boils down
Right. That's
Pretty much, and
crazy,
you're
man.
right. Yeah, it would be pretty much like if coach wants to pay almost like $70 to watch
to. Mm-hmm.
basketball for a few months, and it'd be the same thing for me. Do I want to go out there and buy FUBU just to
Mm-hmm.
watch the Nets? And then eventually, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna just turn off the? Am I just gonna get rid of FUBU after that? Because I'm not gonna watch movies or anything else on FUBU.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I
Hmm.
only really watch. I would only be watching the Nets, and that's the frustrating part about it is, especially when you're
Correct.
people that are covering this stuff. Like I'm
Right.
covering the Nets, and Coach is
Mm-hmm.
covering the Knicks. What are we
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do? Like, how are we
And I'm
supposed to
trying to
cover it?
cover
Like on
both.
highlights? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How are we supposed to do it if we can't even can't even watch the games because
It's a
they won't
struggle.
show them? It pisses me off. And same with the Mets. It's so damn frustrating, but we understand why they're doing it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
as a fan and a consumer, it's just so damn annoying, and we just wish that they could just come to some type of resolution so we can
Mm-hmm.
watch the things that we love. That's the frustrating part about
Well,
it.
I don't understand with all these sports leagues and these companies or whatever. Why wouldn't you have some type of package to where you just follow the teams that you're interested in? Like,
Yes,
I don't need to subscribe to NBA League Pass because I don't watch all those teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, what is the
exactly.
point? You know what I'm saying? So why can't you just subscribe to the teams that you follow? Why I gotta pay for a package to
Mm-hmm.
watch every team where I'm not gonna watch half of those games, not even close. You know what I'm saying? So
And
that's
if
why I
you even
think
get
that,
the NBA TV, they're going to black it out in the local area
Exactly.
because of the fact that
yeah,
you need to, because they're going to be broadcasting it on Yes Network, and that's why like sometimes if I want to, that's why I had the NBA TV at one point, but I couldn't watch the Nets games because it was blacked out because it's on the Yes Network too. So it's like, what's the point of having it when I can't even watch my team on a
Or
channel that you have broadcasting it?
or the other option is when you pay for that, the NBA or whatever, you have to watch it through the opposing broadcast,
yeah,
because
Exactly.
and that's the stuff that really aggravates me. It's like, why am I going to have to pay for all that, or to go through? I want to hear Walt Clyde Frazier.
you're
That,
right.
I
that's
want to hear Iron Eagle and Sarah
exactly.
Kustok.
Oh, I love
Exactly.
Sarah. I love Sarah cool stuff, man.
I do
It's
too.
just, that's why it's like, oh my gosh, I just hate stuff like this, and
It
that's why I'm
pisses me
like,
off to no end.
okay, I can only watch. Or the other thing is, when I lived in Somerset, then I can get Philly channels. Then it was just like, okay, then I could watch some through Philly, then I could watch some through the yes. Then I didn't mind that, but I don't want to go through Utah's announcers. Man, I don't want to hear all that bullshit. You
No,
know,
I don't either. And it's
so
like you
I'm.
can't even watch the games unless they're broadcasting on ESPN or TNT or
Mm-hmm.
ABC.
Mm-hmm.
It's annoying as
Right,
hell. I mean, and
exactly.
especially with NYG, with you and us, they took away some of the Nets games because of the fact
Hmm.
of all the Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving stuff. They thought that both guys were going to be traded, so they took away some of the primetime games for the Nets. So what the hell am I
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do? I mean, I could put on the radio and listen to Chris. What do you call it? uh, I just forgot their names. Chris Carino and Tim Capstraw on WFAN, but it's just not the same when you can't actually watch it. So it's just so frustrating. I know we just like diverted off to like a whole nother thing, but it has to be talked about because this is the most
Mm.
frustrating thing about this whole situation when it comes to these giant organizations, these giant cable companies, and when it comes to like the teams we root for, why they can't just come to some type of agreement, like Coach has said, some type of package deal, and at least so we can our watch our teams that we want to be able to get interest in because I don't watch a lot of TV. The only TV I watch nowadays is wrestling and sports. I don't watch
Hmm.
any of the crap on TV anymore because it's all the same stuff. I just want to sit here and watch my Nets in the winter, my football in the winter, and I want to watch my baseball in the summer. And I can't even get that half the time. Thank God the NFL is still broadcasting on cable TV, because I will flip my lid if the NFL decides to go on a streaming thing. I had to go out there and get what do you call it, Amazon, which I had no interest in because they're doing the Thursday night football games. I mean, it's just so ridiculous now what they're doing with all this stuff. It
Mm-hmm.
really just agitates me to no end because I just want to watch my basketball team that I'm pumped up to see this year. As coaches wants to watch his team this year, and we can't get it because they're having these little he said she said little spats with one another. Seeing who's
Hmm.
got the longest what, having a money struggle. So it's just so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But
Facts.
we're closing in on 3 hours. I'm gonna wrap this up, but as we always wrap it up, we're going to turn it over to Coach, man, with you know, so Coach, get into the college football, man, for me,
All right.
man, and let us know what's going on with Rutgers, Syracuse, and everything else college football.
All right. Syracuse this week actually had a bye, so they didn't actually play any games. So next week they're going to be playing in the AP number is NC State number 13. But they're playing NC, they're hosting NC State. That's a big game, and then after that they go to Clemson. But in my rankings, I actually have them at 16. So they're still
Mm,
undefeated at 5-0.
okay.
So, and Dino Babers is doing a good job up there. So I have to commend him and for everything that Syracuse is doing up there. They're really building a good program, continuing to expand their program and become one of the better programs in the country and in the ACC. So, as far as Rutgers, they played Friday night. Unfortunately, they came out on the short end of the stick, losing it to Nebraska 14-13. It's
Ah,
actually a tale of two halves. I mean, Rutgers in the first half they went into halftime up 13-0. So, and it was a musical. I don't want to say fallacy, but it just was frustrating as a Rutgers fan to see the issues with the quarterback play because that's the biggest thing with Rutgers right now is their quarterback play.
mm,
It's too inconsistent. In the first half, they drove down. I think it was their second series, and they drove down and scored a touchdown. They blocked a punt and recovered the punt inside the 10-yard line, but ended up kicking a field goal. Um,
wow.
they ended up another time driving down, and they ended up kicking another field goal, and that's where their scoring opportunities ended up. I mean, they amassed a total of like 348 yards, an average of 5.1 yards per play, and Nebraska totaled 305 yards, an average of 4.6 yards per play. So they're even, which the final score alluded to. I mean, they held Nebraska down in terms of rushing yards. They held them to 2.6 yards per carry getting only 73 total yards. Their quarterback, Thompson, who transferred in to Nebraska, passed for only 232 yards, two touchdowns, and two interceptions, but he completed 64% of his passes. Um, they amassed 18 first downs, and they were 9 for 67 yards in penalties. Rutgers, on the other hand, they rushed for an average of 3.2 yards per carry, 115 yards total, one touchdown. Passing, they were 12 for 30 for 233 yards and three interceptions.
Oof.
So that's like a 40% completion rate. They had 14 first downs. They had nine penalties, but for 97 yards.
And who was playing
Um,
quarterback, coach?
you started with Noah Verdell, and then Simmons came in and played a little quarterback. Johnny Football also played a little quarterback with the Wildcat. Now,
Mm.
that also this game was the deciding factor because the OC was actually fired on
Yes.
Monday.
Mhm.
Everyone said the same thing. It's my biggest thing with him was because when they brought him in, at Princeton and at Oklahoma State, all I heard was he's a high, he's smart. His offenses are very fast. So, they get to the ball, they get the plays in quickly. But the whole time he's been here, it takes forever for him getting the plays in, signaled in, and a lot of times they're either getting the delay of game penalties. Shiano has to take timeouts, waste
Mhm.
timeouts because of that, and they're snapping the ball within literally 5 to 10 seconds left on the play clock. So it's like and the quarterbacks are not being developed. And as I said right there, 348 yards of total offense, and you have talent. Um,
Hmm.
they have a four-star running back that they brought in, Samuel Brown. He ended up being the leading ball carrier. He totaled 16 carries for 63 yards. But you could see when he was in there, it's a different way of movement. I mean, the kid is like around 6'2", 6'1", and about 225, so he's also bigger, but he's also he has decent speed. He's just 18 years old, so he's still developing. But it's like you see it, so why are you not using him more often? They're constantly rotating backs, they're constantly rotating quarterbacks, and it takes away from
Mm. Yeah.
the flow of the offense. So he was let go.
Can't get in no rhythm when you rotating
Exactly.
quarterbacks like that.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
ridiculous.
So um the tight end coach was actually elevated to um, the interim um, OC. This is actually the second time because when they fired Ash, he was actually the OC and then he became the head coach. So he's familiar. Nunzio is one of the he's known. His family is known throughout New Jersey as one of the top football families in New Jersey. So he has the connections. He's going to get the fair opportunity for the rest of the games to show what he can do. It's not much he can do in terms of putting in a whole new offense. He just has to play off of what he has. But I think he's going to put the guys in the right position to at least execute and take advantage of the talent that we have. Now, one thing I want to say is even though we had a lot of critical penalties that stopped drives and took away momentum, there were actually two critical, costly penalties. Like the NFL is talking about situations there with bad refereeing. The broadcasters were going crazy with this. Rutgers had just gotten down inside the North Nebraska 30-yard line on a long pass to Sean Ryan, and they called offensive interference. And when you look at the play, he never touched the kid. He
Mm.
barely he didn't push off on the kid. It was just the kid kept running downfield and he stopped because it was a back shoulder pass and he got to play. So that took momentum. Then they called because we ended up getting the first down and they called a holding penalty. And when you showed it, it was not a holding penalty. And it was like that's 25 yards where we ended up having to punt and it was just like that was costly. that was extremely, extremely costly in the game. Now, it's not an excuse. Rutgers had opportunities to capitalize.
Hmm.
There were critical turnovers. Simon threw three interceptions, and
That's not good.
it just took away the momentum, for what Rutgers was trying to do. So because this was a very, very winnable game. So, and if they won this, they would have been 4-2 and in great position to get a
Get a
possibility
bowl
to get
game.
into a bowl game. But right
Mhm.
now, it's going to be tough. They go on to a bye, then they come back and host Indiana, and then
Yeah.
they're closing out. I know they have Michigan. Let me get their actual schedule.
It's like Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State,
Yeah,
and
Oh,
then
that's rough.
yeah,
Maryland. I think we still have to play too.
yeah. It's 6 games that we have left to play. So after Nebraska, we host Indiana, then we go to Minnesota.
That's gonna be tough.
We host Michigan, go to Michigan State, host Penn State, and go to Maryland. And you right now to get into a bowl game, you got to win three of those games. Now it is possible. They match up well with Indiana. Minnesota, for everything they are, and they have one loss and they've been nationally ranked. They're more of a running team, which is what Rutgers defends very well. Now they do
Yeah,
have
they like one of the top in the nation, right? Oh, they were. I know a few weeks ago
in
they were.
terms of rushing, yeah,
Yeah.
Minnesota, yes.
No, I
In
mean Rutgers as
Oh
far as
yes,
run defense.
yes, yes. They're still up there. I think they're in the top 15 or
Mm.
14. So
Mhm.
they stopped the run. So that's why Indiana and Minnesota. There is a possibility that they can win those. It's not like Minnesota's going to walk over them, and I think they have a great opportunity to really take it to Indiana.
Yeah.
Because I think they have better talent. Michigan, we always play Michigan tough, always. But Michigan for some reason this year, I will say that they're playing at an elite level. But if we can play like I think we're going to play, I think we can. You can battle them. I'm not going to say we're going to beat them. Michigan State, Michigan State is having a down year. I'll be surprised if Michigan State wins another game if this year. So
Wow.
I think Rutgers can win that. Penn State is not gonna. It's not gonna be good for Rutgers, and it comes down to Maryland. I think that's what's going to end up being the deciding factor
That
if they make
Maryland
the
game.
play that Maryland game, because
Mhm.
Maryland just lost at home to Purdue. They just lost to Purdue, and that was shocking. So, and I think they're losing. I think Maryland has lost their momentum. So I want, and Rutgers is going to want payback because last year that's what kept them from actually going 6-6 to actually get a regular bowl game instead of having to come in through the back door when they took over for Texas A&M. But that's pretty much it. This Nebraska game was a big game, and like I said, it cost Gleason his job. Because
Yeah.
he was inconsistent, and the quarterbacks are not developing. Because Gavin Winston, he's 4-star recruit, number one kid out of Kentucky. He turned down a lot of SEC schools and other big 10 schools, as well as Cincinnati, to come to Rutgers. So and I'm not expecting him to transfer out. I think he wants to stay here. So, Nunzio has a great opportunity, like I said, and being that he has a 2-week head start, that's why another reason why I think Indiana is going to be a good win for Rutgers because now that you have a new OC, Indiana doesn't know how to really gauge him. I mean, even when he took over before when Ash was fired, he had no talent, and he pretty much ran, Johnny Langan with the wildcat type of an offense. So, but this year it's not going to be that. So we'll see. So that's pretty much it. That's my college report. Oh, I didn't check. I think Princeton won this weekend. I didn't check. Let me just double check that.
What about Syracuse?
No, Syracuse was
Syracuse
on the
on a
bye.
bye. Yeah.
Oh, they're on
Brother
the bottom.
Ed,
Okay.
Levin says, Brother Ed, appreciate your kind words about Syracuse, man. Syracuse
Oh,
football, man.
yeah.
That's from Levance.
That's my pleasure, man. I mean, it's they're a part of this market. So no matter what people may think they are, they are part of this market. They're on the East Coast.
Of
They're a
course.
former Big East
Big East.
rival, and Princeton won beat Lafayette 23-2. That's
Shout
why
out to Princeton.
Let's
That's
Yeah.
go.
what's
So
up,
and
man.
Princeton is 4-0 right now. So are they leading the Ivies? Ivy standing. Oh, they're tied. Oh, Harvard and Yale are actually 2-0, but they have one loss. So technically they're tied with Penn because they're the only two undefeated teams in the Ivies.
Mm,
So
I'm just so
okay.
I get upset with the why I don't know why Rutgers keeps these like rotation of the quarterbacks. How are you supposed to have any consistency out there if you keep rotating quarterbacks in and out? You
the,
need to have one quarterback that you have to decide on and let that quarterback be able to go out there and make the plays unless he's ineffective. Then you rotate quarterbacks in and out. I don't understand this consistent rotation of their quarterbacks every single second. It makes no sense.
to start the season, he had to because of injuries to Noah Verdell, and then both Winsome and I think Winsome was banged up a little bit. So Winston started the season, and then Simon came in. Now Winston, like I said before, he's really 19 years old. Last year he left high school his senior year to enroll into Rutgers to play. So and he ended up redshirting. So he's still raw. And same thing with Simon. Simon is a redshirt sophomore. So it's
And
like,
play Vidal. Play Vidal then.
he was hurt. Like the one thing I will say, because they even said it, he had hand surgery. He had hand surgery, so he doesn't have the strength in his hand that sometimes his passing is very weak. Yeah, and you saw it Friday. His passing was very weak at times. That's why he can only pass down the sidelines with the goal patterns. Anything directly right in front of him, he couldn't drive on it because he didn't have the strength that to really control the ball. So that's why it's I get what they're doing with him now. They're trying to work him in, but I'm like you. Well, if that's the case, then start Simon, leave him in, and bring him in just as a change of pace to develop. So yes, but during the course of the season, the switching and then putting Johnny Langan in for the shotgun and young blood and a couple of the running backs because technically, I think they've had even though they ran, I think they've had like technically seven different quarterbacks, and that's
Mm-hmm.
including running backs in playing in a wildcat type of a situation. So yes, I'm with you. It takes away, and it's they even said, why is he running Johnny Langing in with the wildcat, and you're just sending him right up in the middle, and Nebraska's playing that,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like I'm reading, I'm sitting in the stands, I'm like, okay, he's going to send Johnny Langan up the A gap, and that's exactly what he would do. It was like you and the man who he faked it to was always open. It was just minor, simple adjustments. Like what, just give it to him because then you keep the defense honest. So he what I've come to realize is Gleason was a product of the head coaches he was coaching under because it was actually their offense that he was running, and it's like they did the game plan and he's just calling it.
Calling the
So
plays, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
But
it's not
he's really not involved like he should be as far as designing
yes,
the playbook. He's just calling what's out there, basically.
exactly. And then when he
Yeah.
comes here, you see that he really doesn't have anything. He's not really that much of a. He doesn't have that much ingenuity. It's just look, he just has some stuff and he doesn't do a good job of adjusting. Like we talk about the Giants, one of the good things that they do is they adjust very well.
Hmm.
He doesn't he doesn't so it's like well, he's out the door. Look, take your whatever he has left. I think he has like 1.5 million left, and you go enjoy the rest of your life. Wish you and your family well. It's just you're not fit for Rutgers. So so hopefully, and they are looking at a lot of well, the early reports, even though Shiano said he's only focused on the season, but everything that every other report commentator has said that there's a long list, and the head man right now is the OC at North Carolina. Sorry, NYG,
Oh
but
man.
he's one of the head ones.
I
I
take
mean,
away
one of the
from North
ones
Carolina for man.
because he's good. He's
Yeah,
good. Yes, he's very
they
good.
they do they do score.
Rutgers
Yes,
needs somebody that can come in here and give this offense some type of jolt that they need.
exactly.
This offense
So,
has been abysmal for a while. They need to have some type of spark to get this offense going,
well,
especially the passing game.
they need to, because, and that's the thing I don't understand, because you have talent in the running game. I mean, in the passing game, you have receivers, and it's like you're not using them. What he would do is just send them on vertical runs most of the time. Nothing too creative, no concepts,
It's
no.
vanilla.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
very vanilla. You might have a crosser here or there, but everything was vertical. Or you could send Johnny football.
Sounds familiar, huh, fellas? Sounds
Yes,
familiar from something we saw the last couple of years with the Giants,
Yeah.
right?
exactly. The only thing is, I give Shiano credit for it. He knew to rip the Band-Aid off. He knew to
Yeah.
rip it off and say, you know what, I got to do what I got to do, because that also affects recruiting. Because if
Yes.
you keep spiraling down, these kids are not going. They're going to turn around and say, they open up their recruitment, and other kids are not going to want. And Shiano doesn't want to see that, because then you're going to end up with another Ash situation, and we don't need that here. We can't have another Ash, because if Shiano doesn't get it going back up, I think the program is going to be lost, and you might even get state assembly people calling for Rutgers to leave the Big Ten. And
Ooh,
That
can't
would, that
have
would
that.
be, that'd
Uh-uh.
be an absolute destructive killer to that organization.
yes,
I mean, they're in such a good position right now, being in the Big Ten.
yes,
But this
and
is you said it before, Coach. I think it was a couple of shows ago that this is such an important time for Rutgers
yes,
to be
yes,
able to start showing signs of turning it around. Because, like you said, with the fact that there's other organizations now that are coming to the Big Ten in the future, they're going to
hmm
look at Rutgers as one of those teams towards the bottom. If they can't cut it in the next couple of years, like you said, the assembly is going to try to oust Rutgers out of there, and it would be absolutely devastating to the
yes,
program if that
yes,
happens.
and
Rutgers
that's
has got to
that's
start turning it around.
and the thing about it to me is, I knew this year was a rebuild year. I think
Yes.
most average fans knew it was a rebuild year. I'm like this: just play your young kids, play them. I get Shiano wants to win, and you have to build the offensive line just to let the guys be able to perform. That part I'm fine with. But play your young guys. Let Gavin Wimsett play and develop. He gets hurt, then you go to Simon. And then he gets hurt, then you go to Verdell. Verdell has the mind. He has the perfect mind of the quarterback. He just doesn't have the skill set and the tools to be there. That's where Gavin Wimsett is. He
Mm-hmm.
has the ability to run. He has the ability to run the RPOs. He has a cannon of an arm to get the ball downfield. So he has all those tools. So, that's why I'm like, just play him. Develop it around him. With Brown, the freshman running back. Play him, develop him. Now, recruits are going to see that. Well, if I go in the door, if I go in, I can play right away. That's the other way to do it. Yeah, you're gonna take your lumps early, but still, you're building a program. Then you're not going to lose recruits. So, and that's the thing. Now, I think Shiano is safe, and I think the recruits see that, and they're just going to watch to see who the OC is, and then you go from there. And I honestly, if it's going to take money, but if you get that OC from North Carolina, I really think, and he's from the Northeast. He is from the Northeast, so he has ties here. So it will put Rutgers on a different level, because defensively, we're fine. We're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Other than Ohio State, no one really torched us. You could sit here and talk about Iowa. Iowa scored off of two turnovers for touchdowns.
Yeah.
You take those away, and it's a 3-point game.
Mm.
So you're right there with Iowa. So it's not like you're going to get blown out of all your games. That's why I think the rest of the season, I don't think they're getting blown out, but I think they're going to, face adverse situations, and not having, a competent quarterback is going to hurt them. So, and if
Fact.
if he can gain strength, then I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine, and we'll be fine in the long run. So that's my report.
Good stuff, Coach, man.
Awesome stuff, Coach.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna wrap up the program tonight, fellas.
Mhm.
Appreciate both you guys coming in, of course, as always, joining me on this. Like I
Anytime,
said,
bro.
Definitely means a lot to me, man. Man, and shout out to you guys, man. You know what I'm saying?
I got a
Please go.
rumor that they just threw out this afternoon. I mean, it is 4 hours ago they posted it, but NBC Sports did report that Panthers wide receiver DJ Moore, if he does get moved, three teams to watch out for that look to acquire him: the Baltimore Ravens, the Green Bay Packers, and our New York Giants. It's just
Mm.
posted by NBC Sports. So the DJ
Facts,
Moore
man.
watch starts.
Yes, it
Well,
does.
man, I'm with it. Like I said earlier, you know what I'm saying. We just got to see what they're willing to give up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But I
Hmm.
definitely think a number one wide receiver could definitely put us in real contention, man, this year. I
Hmm.
really do. I
And
really,
Kenny
really do.
Galladay, get your ass out of here.
Peace. Bye,
Goodbye,
Felicia.
Hmm.
Felicia.
Holy shit.
Felicia.
Oh, shit. But
Darius
yeah, we're
Tony,
gonna
you
wrap
better
it up,
shape it up.
man.
You're gone next.
Yeah,
Mm.
man. A lot of these guys got to shape it up, man. But
All right.
go sub to Coach Ed. Of course, Coach Ed's Amazing World of Sports. Got that right there on the ticker. Y'all please
Mm-hmm.
go sub to Coach, man. You know what I'm saying? Doing wonderful things over there, man. You know what I'm saying? Giving you excellent content on all areas of sports. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So please go check him out, man. I love his segment on women's sports, man. That's something that doesn't get talked about a lot. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Also, he's a coach and also a college football expertise, man. I always appreciate my man, coach, man, my brother, man, coming on the show, man, holding me down every single week for Heart of the
Hmm.
City, man. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my other co-host, Mr. Jeffy T, 85. Go sub to Jeffy. Also
Hmm.
covers all sports, man, including wrestling, man. One of the best wrestling content creators on YouTube right now, I will say. I've popped into a couple of his streams and have really enjoyed it, even though I'm not a big wrestling fan. So if you enjoy wrestling, or even if you don't, it's always entertaining, man, listening to Jeffy T, man. Now he's doing football games live as well, too,
Hmm.
man. So always check out
Basketball will be coming soon too. I'm gonna be start if I can get some basketball games. I'm gonna be covering that as well.
You do a
facts, man.
phenomenal job at it, Jeff. That's why I
Yes,
enjoy
you do,
being on
man.
those streams with you, man. So,
Definitely an
Coach, I want to
excellent
give a
job.
shout out to you. Thank you so much. Coach and I went 6 hours
oh
yesterday. We
yeah.
actually went
Wow.
3 hours and stayed out until like 2 o'clock in the morning,
Hmm.
going over
Oh, wow.
NFL draft stuff. Him, myself, Coach, and Alex were going into detail about
Hmm.
some of the players coming out next year, especially the wide receiver position that the Giants might
Hmm.
look
Mhm.
to try to target if they can get a decent position to pick up one of these premier wide receivers that might be coming out of the draft. So yeah, I appreciate anything Coach has done. Coach has been like such a help for me on my live streams. I love it. NYG, when you've hopped on with me a couple of times, you've been such a help with me as well. I love it. I
Of
appreciate
course,
you
no doubt,
guys.
man.
Thank you for having me on the stream
And yes,
always, every Tuesday for
NYG,
Home
you do
City.
a phenomenal, phenomenal,
Yes,
phenomenal job with everything that you
yes.
do, that you bring. Your unpopular opinions, everything. Touching base on any and everything, football, basketball, baseball. Just being out there, being a part of this whole community, man. So thank you, and I
Hmm.
appreciate you, man.
Yes, same
Appreciate you
thing.
too, Coach, man, and you too, Jeffy, man. And one more shout out, man, to my man. Go sub the big fan Breezy with the
Hmm.
Brooklyn Nets vlog, man. He's also a big contributor to the show, man, bringing you excellent Brooklyn Nets content, man, and just basketball in general, man. Guy's very knowledgeable, man, and that's my bro, man. So please go sub to him, man, as well, man. And sub to Unpopular Opinion Sports, man. While you at it, man, hit that like
Exactly.
button, hit that subscribe button, man. You know what I'm saying? We doing big things. I'm working on a lot of things in the background, man, to improve the show, improve the quality of the content. You know what I'm saying? So that's uh that's what we do, man. And one more shout out, man. Shout out to the Big Blue crew in general, man. You know what I'm saying? Go sub to all those guys, man. Myself, Coach, Jeffy, we all part of the Big Blue crew. Big Pat Sports Talk, G Nation, Classified 3F with Joe, Super Taj World, J Lay, Hit Squad, Mac the Giants fan, Alex, Adam. You know what I'm saying? It's so many to Miz. You know what I'm saying? So many
Hmm.
to count, man. But please go sub to all those guys, man. The Big Blue Crew, man. You catch us on all those streams as well as
Hmm.
myself, Coach, and Jeffy, man. So that being said, man, we're gonna wrap it up, man. We over 3 tonight, man. So we're gonna leave it there for the night, fellas, man. But until next Tuesday, man. Peace.
Let's go Giants.
Go Giants.
Mm.
Kick some Raven ass.